Fucking hell. It's all about driving engagement and maintaining like no dead air and all that good stuff and
maintaining the energy.
Yeah. Like us, he's late. He's not turned up, which is why we just booted him off the podcast. I got Womble on instead. Maintain the energy. You didn't sort your hair out though, Owen. So like
I know.
Yeah.
I'm not the hosting material. We all know that. So just leave me to the tech stuff, and you can chat rubbish for an hour and a half. I am the man in the chair. Yeah, I am literally. I'm the guy that makes the rest of you look good. So we'll just. Yeah,
dude, you're failing at that job. I look like. Have you seen this? You know what I mean?
Toph, there's only so much AI can do. And that's above and beyond, mate. Above and beyond. They've not written programming that realistic yet, so.
Jesus Christ! See, you're making my glasses all foggy up. That's how fucking awful that is. Anyway,
I reckon AI could turn you into a good "It's Wednesday, dude" frog.
What's that?
Off 9gag.
No,
he's only.
I'm not 9gag. I'm sorry. We've had this conversation.
Yeah, he's only seen the first 7 gags. He doesn't know like 8 or 9. So.
Yeah. Every so often, something from 9gag comes to Reddit, and then I get to be included. And until that day comes, I just not.
I'll make sure I forward any good stuff to your MySpace page.
Yeah.
Tom's my only friend.
That's my friends reunited page.
I hope he doesn't leave. Owen, you're a million years old. Do you know what MySpace is?
I do. It was a bit after my time. Yeah.
A bit after. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you not have your page where like people would log on and then like My Chemical Romance blasts out at full volume and then you're like, yeah, I'm cool because I pick my music on my MySpace.
No, it'd be more like REM and stuff.
REM. Oh man, no. You need the fluffy fringe like that.
Well, no, I had the flick. Believe it or not.
Yeah. I had the proper emo like that. It was wicked.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Come on, Spurley, get this conversation into control. Control the podcast.
Well, what do you want me to do? Say,
well,
we're back.
We're back.
Yeah, we're back. This is
59.
Yeah.
Have we been somewhere?
We should really practice this more when we're doing it live.
Every month when we record, I don't think this show can get any more tin pot. But I tell you what, we stoop to new levels time after time.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yes, we do.
Okay, I'm going to claim ownership of this podcast.
Go on.
Hello, everyone, boys and girls across the internet. My name is Topher. I am here. This is episode 59 of the Juggernaut Bot Auction podcast. I am joined by Dan and Spurley, and Pete will be joining at some point when he gets off the toilet and sorts his shit out. And we've got our special guest star, Owen, and we're all here to discuss and review the WTC. Yeah, that soundboard is dangerous, isn't it?
Yeah, we've actually took this now from this level. Yeah, we're at least at this level now. Yeah, we are climbing.
If I finish all the beer stacked in front of me, it's going to get really dangerous.
Oh god, oh yeah. Why do you think I drink like half a bottle of port every time I do this?
Yeah.
It's not because I'm a borderline alcoholic.
It helps.
And we are, of course, joined by our live studio audience already. Greg and Philippe, they're already slagging off my hair. Thank you. Apparently, a hairdressing podcast brought the manager on today. So, I don't know. What do you reckon? No?
No.
So, at the WTC, so, elephant in the room, or should I say the Juggernaut in the room, Owen got called a full Juggernaut.
I did.
Did he?
Know.
Oh, I missed that.
He's only been on a guest star, but do we give him the full membership badge now? Is that it?
I don't know.
Because he doesn't come to Leicester because he's too far away. He's down in Brighton.
There's nothing I can
chat shit all the time.
There's nothing I can say that wouldn't get thrown back in my face. So I'm not gonna put anything out there.
No.
To say,
Just in perspective, it actually takes less time to get to Spain than it does to Leicester for me.
Wow.
I think you just make him an honorary member.
Honorary.
Yeah.
He's got the t-shirt and the membership card.
Yeah. Good enough.
It's close enough. So we got shitloads of WTC content coming up because it was quite a big deal, and there's lots of shit coming out. So this episode is going to be reviewing the event, as in, when we usually do our, what is it, out of 35 score? What's the one?
35, yeah.
So we will cover, here we go, venue, terrain, pack, TO, missions, prizes, atmosphere, as is usual. And then in a week or so time in the future, we are going to do a stats podcast where we will talk shit about who brought what, who won against what. So Spurdy and Pete are preparing PowerPoints and slideshows and pie charts to be able to say, this person's shit, this person's great. That I'm looking forward to. I love some number crunching.
I have been having so many stat chubs, just putting this all together.
Love it. And then also following that, the England team have been preparing an idiot's guide to the WTC. So we're going to share that as well. So we'll it'll definitely have me and Womble on it. We'll see who else from the team wants to get on. And we'll talk about our own personal experience. That's at least 3 episodes of content. 3! Dude, churning it. And then we're going to run out of content because fucking Warlords are only releasing that shitty tank game. What is it even shit? I don't even know what it is. What's Action Panzer? Can someone, guys in the comments, can anyone tell me what is it? Down the cliff.
It's a tank game that relies on cover and activations. Yeah. So it's a revolutionary system that no one's ever heard of in wargaming.
Okay.
And it's also got cards and tokens, which is death
and
of
it's
a system.
it's like a small skirmish game because it's like 5 or 6 miniatures, be they tanks or something else. It could be anything.
I mean,
it's tank war without the infantry. That's all it is.
Well, you don't know that yet, Dan. You don't know that yet, Dan, because it might be in tomorrow's post. They go, you've got infantry because it's platoon based. So
I imagine if it's tank war v2. Oh God.
To be fair, I'm because they're saying it's relatively quick and everything else. I could play it. I think.
Yeah, but when you say relatively quick, what's relevant? Because I can complete a game of Bolt Action in an hour, right? So a quick game to me, I can do it in half an hour.
That is true. But I think like most people, I've got a shit ton of tanks that I'm never ever going to use otherwise. So my hope is it's something that gives me a chance to play those once. A bit like the 40k army that I played once against somebody on this podcast and hasn't left the cabinet since.
That's because it was a trash army. So,
sorry.
Toph did bring his super towel, didn't he? So, yeah.
Maybe you should have just got good.
Yeah.
And I should use soundboard.
That's it. Tonight it's going to be the competitive. It's going to be the Juggernaut competitive soundboard podcast.
If you use the soundboard to use the drum badoosh, then I know that I'm funny because you've heard it. Yeah. I don't need to listen to any waiting for anyone else to laugh. I just use the soundboard. I hope Action Panzer. I want it to have order dice, and I hope it's really simple like Bolt Action, except rather than Bolt Action 1 dice per unit, you have like an order dice per like crew member. So you have one guy to drive it, one guy to shoot it, one guy to reload it. That's my headcanon of what I want the game to be. But I've got a feeling I'm going to be really disappointed. And everyone keeps telling me, oh, it's just What a Tanker. But I don't give a fuck about What a Tanker, because I don't really like the Two Fat Larders games because I'm thick and it makes me feel stupid. So... Yeah. It's shit marketing, man. They should take a leaf out of Games Workshop's book. When they release a new game and they're like, website, battle report, buy it now. They're proper like... If you think of like the run-up to the old world, every day they were full-on articles with like 1,000 words of like, here's new rules, here's new mechanics, here's how it's going to work. And then it's just like, do you know this pre-order in 2 weeks?
I think
you might be able to use a Sherman.
But I think it's a change, isn't it? It's whereas the internet and people have really short attention spans now. And it's a case of the old school of just drip feeding stuff. No, you need to just get it out there, get their attention, and then feed. Once you've got that, feed more of it. And I just think they've missed that.
Yeah, I mean it's poor timing. Like I'm playing the old world. I can give a fuck.
Who is it?
I'm ranking and flanking. Yeah. That's going to be me in all of my gaming headspace for the next 6 months. No, like, I can't think of... Unless, even if Warlord came out tomorrow and said, we're going to release V3 in the summer, I'm going to be great, I'll play that later. Because I've been waiting for the old world for like 9-10 years. I don't give a shit. The only reason I've been playing Bolt Action recently is because of the WTC. Yeah. Because V2's been out for, what, 5-6 years now?
Yeah.
We've completed it, mate. We've completed Bolt Action.
It was was your practice game before the Tuesday before we flew out, and you just sat there and you just went, I don't even want to play this. he'd brought his dwarven army with him, his Chaos Dwarves. He'd brought them, and I think it was on the off chance that Iron didn't show up and he could actually play a game he wanted to for the night rather than playing
he was just
bolt
hoping
action.
to beat you in 40 minutes like usual.
I did beat him in 40 minutes. That absolutely did happen.
We gave up halfway through turn 3, so. I told him at the start of the game because he was like, I don't know if I want to play it. I was like, shall we actually not play and just sit around and watch what everybody else is playing? It was like, no, we'll power through. And it was the most painful 2.5 turns I think I've ever played a bolt action.
I like to please my opponents and make sure they're having fun as well in the 1 or 2 turns before they concede. Yeah. Cool. So, what order do we want to do these things in? We'll quickly close off the intro. I can go through the events calendar. Remind people to buy tickets for not 5 steps back.
Remember though, we're not doing everything tonight. So it's we're going to.
I was going to say, did we want to go through who won and stuff at the very least? Top 3 maybe. Okay.
We'll cover that as we go through it.
It's more like it's yours and Womble's review. That's what we want to talk about tonight.
Okay.
We want to get that.
I'm just here to hear good things said about me. So.
Yeah, Dan's just here to massage his ego. Yeah.
He's had the whole weekend of that, buddy. You know what I mean? I'm surprised he got on the plane. I'm surprised Ryanair didn't charge him for his head.
If you actually look carefully, his webcam keeps wobbling a bit because he can't keep his table level. You know. So.
Yeah.
Just disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
Right, okay, let's do the events calendar then. So what date are we on? We're on the 9th of February. Tomorrow there's a bolt action at Crossroads Cambridge in Ohio in the US. We've got Beachhead this weekend in Bournemouth. I know Mike and Alex are running that. If you want to go, too late. I wanted to go, but I went WTC last week. There's only so many brownie points I've got to spend, unfortunately. And then 18th of February, East Manchester Waterloo Extravaganza. I went WTC. We've got Valentine's Day Massacre in Cheltenham. And we've got the Spring Offensive up in Dunfermline on 24th of Feb. On the 2nd of March, we've got Brimpton Bolt Action Day, Brimpton. And the 2nd to 3rd of March, the Bolt Action UK Open up in Stockport. That's the £1,000 event, isn't it?
When's that?
That's on the 2nd and 3rd of March.
Yeah, that's £1,000 event.
Stockport.
Yeah.
So I spoke to Dave about that. He hasn't sold too many tickets, but it's still going ahead with the £1,000 prize. I don't understand.
Oh, did you hear that? That was Alistair Omnicrom sitting forwards in his seat at the speed of sound. Yeah. Yeah.
So if you think that you can go to an event and beat 5-6 players for £1,000, enjoy, go ahead. But you may have a random wild Dan turning up for a payday. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm not there. And Womble, you're coming. We're just going to go play fantasy, aren't we?
Yeah.
That's on it, isn't it? Yeah. I ain't got time for that. Shit. We've spoken on the podcast about the £1,000 event.
I'm always worried with my accent. If I go much further north than Leicester, I'll get into trouble.
You will get bummed as being a posh boy.
Absolutely. The week after that, though, the 9th of March, come to Not 5 Steps Back, man. It's going to be way more chill. And you'll get a prize wherever you come, not just £1,000 at the top. And we're not giving anywhere near £1,000, but you'll get your money or your ticket back. Like, that's cool.
And I think there's a lot of people come off the WTC who are just going to go and have fun and take all sorts of stuff with them. So I think it's going to be a great event, actually.
I'm going to stop there because this list is fucking massive. Like,
but you don't
go and have a look on. Yeah, but even trying to pick out just the big ones like Welsh Nationals, English Nationals, man. But go and join us on Discord. Go and look at the events calendar. There's like at least 5 or 6 events every month.
For Not 5 Steps Back, we've got 7 spaces left. So that takes you to
how many have we sold now?
23.
23.
Yeah.
It's going to be good.
This might be one of the biggest ones we've run.
It's going to be a good event. I feel it in my bones.
Bearing in mind, I haven't asked anyone for price support yet. Yes.
You'll be fine, Dan.
No, because it's so close to WTC, I don't want to double stack it and ask people for too much too soon. So I have a few bits left over from the last one. So
we'll be able to fudge it. We've got said let's take that offline. We'll sort something out. We'll sort something out one way or another.
Yeah.
Awesome. Any other intro bits?
No. I think that's it. No.
You sure?
That's review.
I was about to cut you up.
Oh,
You sure?
Ding.
Right. I was going to say, which track? I've got 4 transitions now on my board. Which one button should I press?
Number 3.
Number 3.
Number 3.
Nah, it's underwhelming. Let's go. Well, if we're going to get taken off the internet anyway.
I'll tell you what, going back to Boys Are Back in Town, did you see me on that meme? Oh, I looked good.
You had a nice pair of tits.
Yes.
And may I just say, Mr. Late Arrival Peter, that you turned up at the perfect time because we've just finished off the intro.
You mentioned a nice pair of tits.
Yeah. It's by magic.
Oh, but there's only one turned up on your camera.
Oh, right.
I can definitely see 2. I can definitely see 2.
I think I'm an A cup, boys.
Cool. So, review WTC. Owen, this was your very first WTC.
It was my very first WTC.
Talk to me. What's your thoughts? Would you go back?
Well, for 30 seconds, I wouldn't go back, and then you guys just went, "You sure?" And I went, "No, I'd come back." It's like, that's about the level of my self-control. Yeah, I think I actually went, and by the time I got there, I was knackered and everything else, and I wasn't in a great. Poor old Miguel Santos asked me, "You looking forward to it?" And I was like, "No, I just want not at work." Turns out I was well up for that, and it was great fun. It really was. It was really. I'm still bouncing a bit from it now. People are like go, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "Actually, it's still a week on, and it was a great event. I really enjoyed it. It's good fun." I won't go too much away. You can see how much we want to cover in the second episode. It's a really good experience to do. It's great fun.
For me, obviously, this is our 4th one. We've covered them all in the past, and we've given positives and negatives for each one. But the thing that always comes back to, regardless of how good of an event it is, in regards to pack and all that, it's always a smashing weekend because you're away with the lads for a week. Weekends. So like, even if the games are shit, even if the pack's a nightmare, even if it's imbalanced and everyone's like, "Oh, fucking this is shit because the latest ruling, blah blah blah," whatever. Every day ends with you in the pub with the mates. So it's like, how bad can a weekend be?
With the mates, you were in the pub with the mates and Michael from Denmark. So,
you motherfucker, go and listen to Bo's like YouTube, watch an episode with Michael on it, and see how he doesn't say motherfucker when he's on like YouTube, but when you get like a single pint down him, "Oh, you motherfucker!"
It wasn't a single pint, but what a fella!
It was doubles. It was double vodkas. That's what he was drinking. And when you're over in Spain, when your singles are triple and you're having a double, he was basically drinking half a litre of vodka with Coke.
He would make an honorary.
It was this much vodka and about this much Coke.
Yeah, he would make an honorary British lads holiday maker. Do you know what I mean? Like, he was all up for it.
He drinks like a Viking. That's all I can say.
I think it's when they're like, "Oh yeah, we've almost finished the Baileys." They pour the whole out, and it's like a pint of Baileys.
Yeah, you did get a big Baileys, didn't you?
I did.
That was massive.
It's when me and Alex discovered the Di Serrano behind the bar at the hotel, and that when he was giving Di Serranos, it was like freaking massive chunks, and then we managed to drink it our way to the bottom of the hotel supply of Di Serrano.
Did you finish it in the end?
We finished it, and then we got to the bottom of their rum supply as well. So between me and Alex,
I think we went through 2 or 3 bottles of rum, just like
man. Yeah, smashing. Yeah. So we'll this would review the event, and we'll do more stuff later and more coverage. Yeah. But the event itself, just from being with people, socialising, great, right?
Yeah, it was good.
Shall we start off then with scoring from you two? So
okay, go for it.
Let's start off venue. What did you think of the venue?
Go on, Owen.
I would give it a 4. The reason being is actually the rooms were quick. Everything was in one place, which is great. You had the bar, which was, as we already discussed, inexpensive, great. the breakfasts were okay. It was really close to the shops. The hall itself was pretty decent, and you could actually hear yourself think, even though all the people in it. I think what it was lacking for me was anything like the gaps in between. It needed some other space that you could go and sit down, be it outside or something like that, to actually then really engage with other people that you finish playing with. Because of course, as soon as you finish your game, you have to leave the hall where all the chairs and everything are. So I think stopping it from getting the best mark would be some of that aspects. The rooms were really hot and everything else, but actually, as a location, it was actually pretty decent. Everything was in place. I think the hall didn't get too hot. I never really got. I didn't really notice it ever getting into that horrible, sweaty.
It was nothing compared to last year. It was so hot last year when everyone was in it. It was unreal.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the venue was really good. It just lacked a bit of socialising area where all the people could socialise between things that wasn't just stood outside or having to sit on the floor.
Picnic benches.
I know what you mean.
That's what you want.
There is actually an outside area with tables and chairs and stuff, but it's out the back of the hotel. So when you go through to your restaurant, it's that little hallway there.
That area existed because we spent a lot of time drinking.
That's where the pool is.
Yeah.
What they should have done. We didn't even do it this year. Yeah.
They should have brought that through and put it out front, really. Yeah. So they did have that. It's just that it wasn't brilliantly advertised. People probably didn't recognise it was there.
But it was, I mean, there are things like it was, despite the fact that there was however many hundreds of people there, they kept it clean, important things and all the rest of it. The water never ran out of the water machine as far as I'm aware, so little bits like that just make a difference. So yeah, I think 4.
I gave it a 5 out of 5 last year, and it's not worse. So
I've got to be honest though, beige food gets real boring after day 2.
That's what I loved. Like on the breakfast, the sausage. It wasn't just like normal sausage. They had Frankfurter sausages because that's what they think English people want for breakfast. But then they also had, I've got to say this right, otherwise Dan will go mental at me. It's chorizo. There you go.
Chorizo.
Just say chorizo.
Yeah. Chorizo, some chorizo.
Can I have chorizo on my pizza, please? Is that all right? Chorizo.
It's chorizo.
But yeah, the sausage, and it was proper Spanish, like chunks of sausage, and I was just like, I could just have had a plate after a plate after a plate of that because I love that stuff.
Did you bring it home? I filled my suitcase with it. Literally filled my suitcase, went to Lidl's, filled my suitcase with a street thing.
To be fair, I think the breakfast was down. I think the food was downhill from last year, but it's not a big enough thing for me to give too much of a shit about. Does that make sense? Like, you come in, you get some breakfast, you get on with your game. Like, whatever.
I think the food thing was mainly because it's the second year there, and you're going, I wonder if they'll vary it up. It's a hotel. Here's your beige food. Here's your slightly coloured food. Carry on.
But also, when it's next door to a Lidl, literally next door, you couldn't put it any closer to a supermarket. Just sort yourself out.
Yeah. And that's what we did for lunch.
Yeah.
Dave just got some money, gave it to one of the TOs and said, go and buy some snacks and sandwiches and, this, that and the other and pastries and stuff. And that's, great.
That's a surprisingly big plus because you can just go and get all your water from there as well.
Yeah. I mean, I kept getting asked about...
It was so cheap.
I kept getting asked about water, like, is it going to get provided? And I'm there like, a little bit, but you're better off nipping to Lidl because you can get all you need.
That's how I managed to drink like 10 litres of water in a weekend, by just buying massive chunks of bottles, like multi-pack bottles from Lidl, storing them in my room, and then every game I'd get through at least 1 litre of water. At least, normally 1.5. Especially during the second day when I just about died.
Yeah. You did not do well.
Yeah, so for the guys who went there on the second day, I was very, very poorly. I woke up and
it was evacuating from both ends.
Yeah. I don't know what it was. I think it was that.
You were Egyptian.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but so the second day was just paracetamol and all your drugs and your water. But I kept going. Good stuff. Also, and it's as with last year, it's a nice local. It's only a 10-minute walk from like loads of food places and stuff. The Saturday night went out, and when they're open, on the Monday they weren't. But it's fine on Saturday. Loads of people went to my restaurant, Casa de la Tofu. I don't know what it's actually called, but everyone noticed it had tofu. It had tofu in the name. Yeah, that's the place. It's my restaurant, man. It's mine.
And it's probably why you had shits and squits on Sunday morning. So
because Toph was cooking, obviously.
Yeah.
They didn't bat an eyelid when like 20 blokes all turned up and went, "Feed us now." They were just like, yeah, no worries.
It
poisoned you.
Well, I blame Luke because Luke ordered the tapas and he just ordered a shitload of stuff and it just all came to the table and we just ate it. It was great. One of the things was squid. So I'm blaming Luke.
Yeah.
Seafood's always hit and miss, isn't it? Because I think that's what got people last year was the fish at the restaurant.
Yeah.
So
I don't think it's necessarily cooked badly, but I guess if you're not used to it, it can be But
I know we were under strict instructions to not from Dan to not eat the seafood because he can't have us going sick.
Yeah. But hey, I managed to
soldiered on.
I soldiered on, yeah.
So
he sweated himself out.
Yeah.
It's when everyone was looking at me like, "Fucking hell, Toph, you all right?" I'm like, "Yeah."
You were the same colour as your shirt on that Sunday.
you were pale as fuck.
Well, because I saw you first thing in the morning when you came in with the boys, and I looked at you and I just said, "Are you all right?" And you looked at me and went, "No."
It was a look you get from a minute where he's just looking at you like, "There's too much noise." I know you just barely spoke to me and you're whispering, but there's too much noise.
I saw you just after Dan had given you and Spain one. They're talking to like a group of kids in like primary school, telling you to behave, otherwise you'll be sent to stand against the wall. And as you walked away from that, I thought he'd said something, and you were crying. I thought he'd like tore you a new one because of your behaviour. Yeah, I thought he'd proper singled you out, and I said to you, "Are you okay?" And you just went and just mumbled like nothing. It was just like, "Is he all right, Dad?" And Dan was like, "No, he's not all right."
It was totally both. It was totally both. Dan's TO speech was like, "Toph, you're a fat, ugly, bold cunt. Don't you fucking mess me about, you dickhead."
But to be fair,
Toph,
he could have said that about 3 different players in your team. So, are you sure he was pointing at you and not someone else?
I'm very narcissistic. He said it to the group. I heard it in here. You know what I mean? But no, venue was fine. Venue was fine, absolutely fine. Yeah, I'd prefer it to not be 2 hours from the airport. That would be great. But
I'll be honest, I'd have preferred it if it's going to be Spain again to just be in Malaga. It's cheap.
Yeah. But it's in England next year, so the flights will be really fucking cheap.
Yeah, we're going to get a private flight from Leicester Airport to wherever it is, right?
Yeah. Well, Team England, our plan next year is to just go on Airbnb and hire one of these massive 12-bedroom houses for the weekend, and we will have the Team England manor house.
It's going to be like an Olympic village.
Yeah.
We need to set up cameras in there. Imagine the content.
Yeah.
We just set it up like Big Brother.
Yeah.
Year 2 of the WTC. Torfa is sick again and shitting in a bucket.
Yeah.
Womble is wondering where all the wine's gone.
Day 17.
Womble is absolutely like wine, and he's looking a bit stressed.
Sat there going, "Where's the wine gone?"
Dan has lost his red card.
Day 17. They don't know why they're still here.
At this point, all red cards have been found, and Pete's stomping around, passing red cards about.
Okay, now right. Next one, terrain.
Terrain.
Sensitive subject with Toph. This terrain.
I will let you guys talk, and then I'll come in at the end with the Tophinations.
I thought it was great.
I actually really thought the terrain was pretty. Is the first thing.
Oh, that's a shot through the heart. That is like. Oh.
I thought it was
pretty.
I thought the terrain was really pretty. It, when you see the horror stories that come out of some other events where they're just like cardboard boxes and everything else, really pretty. Loads of it. Some of the boards were a little awkward, to put it mildly. If I never see that fucking woodland one again, that'll be a moment too soon.
You see, that has been voted the favourite so far on the feedback forms. No, it's not really. No, of course not.
Fucking hell.
It has probably been mentioned the most, though. It has probably been mentioned the most.
Did you play on that board, Toph?
No, I think they kept me off it on purpose to avoid a nuclear explosion.
We actually didn't. Didn't. It just
we didn't.
Oh, yay! Cavalry can always be seen, and they only get the -5 my tank on.
For the listener, go and have a look at the photos. There's one board that's a winter board. It's only winter board. It's only woods. That's all it is. It's only areas of rough ground, dense light cover. That's all it is. And
well, you play the terrain, don't you?
You play the terrain, but okay, whatever.
Well, let's just say the terrain itself looked good, like Womble said.
Yeah.
And I thought it started a positive.
Yeah, and when you go to an event, you want the boards to be playing different on every single one of them. And to be fair, they were all pretty much individual boards.
Yeah.
So you can't fault it for that. However, Dave had made a bunch of terrain, and let's be clear, it was better than last year, and there was more of it last year. Because one of the things from last year was there wasn't enough scatter terrain, not enough fences, not enough barrels to block roads and stuff like that. And this year there was loads of it. The only problem was when he said, "This is the board, or this is the box for that board, I want all the terrain used," we would have just liked a bit more creative license to say, let's just take a couple of pieces off and use it on one of the boards that's got a little bit less on it. But overall, I think the boards all played well, and they all looked good. And everyone online actually said the boards looked great, and that is a rarity for a bolt action event. Usually the first thing you do is you post it online and people go, "Oh, that's shit, you can't do this, you can't do that, that's got no cover, this has got too much cover," and everyone was just going, "Oh, good boards, good boards, good boards." So overall I thought it was good.
I think there were several boards that I would step up to and my heart would sink, because I'm not a multi-launcher player and I know I'm going up against multi-launchers, and there are lots of 2-inch by 2-inch individual buildings used as scatter terrain. It was literally like they were playing battleships. They're like, I'm going to just fire here, and I'm just going to fire here.
I think there was 2 boards like that, because we tried to limit how far some of the distance was on the buildings. Like we'd space the buildings out on purpose to try and limit the mass use of multi-launchers, because we knew what the lists were.
Yeah, like the Italian board, for instance, with the big buildings, we put them away from each other so you can't chain it off.
Yeah, I played on that board. That board was good. I got my arse handed to me by the Italians, but it was a good. I like a good Italian board. That was fine. I think I played on the one with the really small buildings, and then another one with the building, and it's just like, it's hard work. If you're not a multi, and then if you've got loads of like blocking terrain, obstacle terrains, if you're running wheeled vehicles, and then you're up against multi-launchers, shit gets hard really quickly. But that's a personal thing. I also like the fact that they weren't completely symmetrical. So one of the things that you get a little bit lazy of at Jugger events or something, particularly because Toph comes along and does his thing, and they play probably equally well from either side. There were absolutely definite choices to be made, and a reason to get to the tables early to go, it's this mission, it's this board, what side do I want? If I get objectives, where will I put them? And I think weirdly that for me added some extra, because one of the games I won, I think, because I was better at placing and giving it more thought.
Yeah, that's a fine line, though, isn't it? Like,
it is a fine line.
To your point, I think we got away with it. They got away with it this year. There was no boards where it was like, that side is shit, this side is good. But it's really fine between making it a choice versus making the choice obvious. Like I say, you got away with it, so no complaints from me about board balance in terms of side.
You say you got away with it, but there was thought and attention that went into every single board, because we reviewed every single one before we then copied it across. I mean, the woods board, there's not much thought you can give to putting 9 sets of woods down, but the rest of them, there was, and due care and attention was given to each individual one to think about, well, this has got too much heavy cover, so let's move some away, and then we'll put a dense bit over there instead, and it kind of balances out the quantity of terrain, if not exactly what type it is.
And you go, hang on a minute, that left side, that central one, that's a ruin, not a building, actually. So I want I want to go that way because I won't be multi-launcher bait.
Yeah.
And I think I actually put, I did like that. It's not something I've done a lot of, but I did, whether he got away with it or whether it's planned, I did find the fact they weren't completely symmetrical. I found that interesting.
Yeah.
And challenging.
You are being told off, Owen. One of your teammates from the weekend is telling you that the team rules were not to think too hard.
Thanks, Phil. Strong point.
Strong point. Yeah.
Yeah. That was the first team's job, not your job.
Yeah.
Phil, but if you think about it, Phil did carry that team. So
he did carry it. Yeah. I think to be fair, I had the whole, it's fine, just going to blow shit up, don't care where I finish. And that lasted to about 2 minutes before my first game. And I was like, fuck it, I've got to win something.
Yeah.
Well, what would you give it? Mode came in.
What would you give it as a score then? And then how would you improve it next year?
I'd give it 3.5, I think. And I would actually, if anything, allow you to be more creative on some of the boards and take some of the stuff off.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. The terrain looked perfect, and there was definitely enough there. My main frustration was that the terrain wasn't equally allocated across the tables. Now, of course, you don't want all tables the same. You want dense boards and light boards. I understand that, but it's like when there's boards where we're physically going, oh shit, we need to find a home for this terrain. Where can we put it? Like we had that board we did, Dan, where you had like the fields, where you had like, and then you put the fences in the fields just to be like, just to mark out the rough grounds. Like
make it look like vineyards.
Exactly, and you could have took those fences, and gone and put it on a table which needed more soft because it had too much heavy, and then you could have took that heavy and gone and put it on the tree board. You know, that's what
this is
the tree board just needed like a very small hamlet of two or three small buildings and some effectively stone walls. Just to give something.
You could have done with some burnt out tanks and some
lights. You also it didn't need to have a lot, but it just needed something. Though I didn't waste the opportunity when discussing that board with Bo for calling him a foot cunt, because he was like, "Oh mate, I don't see what your problem is. That board's wicked." It's like, yeah, because you got Stuart, you knobhead.
Well, that's who I faced on it, and I was like, I couldn't go down, and I had nowhere to hide, and it's like, I am fucked.
But on some of the other boards, though, the Stuarts were just like, you've got hard cover and you've moved, so you never get a hit.
To be fair, that also gave me the opportunity to try something new. And honestly, that's what happens. So you can't pick it. You can't pick it.
Playing devil's advocate, though, you have to play the board and the mission and the opponent to make it a triple threat.
And we did, but it didn't mean we liked it.
One thing it sounds like a lot of people played that wood board, the Winter Woods, only as soft cover and not as areas of dense terrain.
No, it was we played as dense terrain, but the thing is, you because their bits weren't that huge and they were roundish. Certainly, if you've got cavalry bases, trying to avoid every slight thing of ever possible from being seen was just impossible because, of course, you can't pre-measure. So it's like I guess
because move long range soft cover is -3, which goes to 6s. The only way you're going to get 7s is if you're down.
Yeah,
which means you then need to go down, if that makes sense. Which means you then have to be able to hit on 7s. You have to use up your ability to do something, which means the game becomes who gets to go first. The Stuart player rolls on, gets all of his million shots going. I'm hitting on 5s and 6s. Do you want to go down? Well, yeah, because I don't want to get killed. Suddenly. Well, now you're on the back foot. That's going to happen turn for turn to turn to turn. I didn't get a play on the board, though, but that's how I would envision the game going. Obviously, when you played it twice, so you tell me, right?
I played it once. In the end,
once ago.
With Bo is because I was playing Robert Ridge. That's the one with the one in the middle, isn't it? And then the two corners.
Yeah.
He said Bo strings his guys out a lot to make different fire lanes and things. So my objective, he had all his Stuarts went on one side to counter. So I was using his own troops as defence. So that was I was actually trying to use. I was basically using all of his stuff to protect.
I love doing that. There's nothing better than someone shooting my opponent, my Polish Lancers, and I go Reki. I just form a line behind his troops. I go 1 inch.
Yeah.
That one.
At one point, he had one of his motorcycle sidecars, because obviously you had an inch either end. I had my AB40, so I had sidecar AB40, then cavalry behind that. They were all lined up behind this one motorcyclist. I was like, I found something that will give me cover. But yeah,
cover with me.
It was a mental challenge to fight on that board with cav and without infantry.
Yeah.
Basically, as a cavalry player, soft cover bad, hard cover obstacles good. Not in any way biased.
What would you give it then, Toe? Because you scored it a 4 last year.
It's still a 4. Still a 4. This is to be a 5. It's really close to a 5. But whilst that snowboard exists, I can't give it a 5. If there'd been hard cover on that snowboard, I'd give it a 5.
So
I personally think it's slightly better than last year, so I'd go about 4.5. But I agree, we just need a little bit more creative freedom just to take a few bits off.
I can see why Dave said don't mix the terrains with the board, because obviously the terrain WTC has always had a bit of a reputation for shit terrain, and obviously really want to make sure you put it on the show, and we did that. The internet loved the boards.
Yeah.
But I think we might have gone a bit too far the other way, and I think he needs to have a bit more trust in you guys to be able to say, no, that's a good board, that's a bad board, if that makes sense.
The terrain provided a lot of Instagram moments. There were loads of little individual fights and things that looked really good. And, to be fair, I'm pretty mean. I'm traumatized by that fucking woodland board.
Yeah. It's like, it
was always the only one, because USA 2 had that board twice.
Oh, bless them.
So did England too.
Do you remember Cambridge Too Far, when they used to go like bring your own board and they used to give like a prize out for the best board? It was always brilliant. But then like the board that win it would be like a beautiful work of art, because I remember one year one won and it was like a desert. Yeah, it was like a desert table and it had a Casbah and markets, and each of the markets had little fruit stands on it and all that. It was brilliant. Don't fucking play on it though. Jesus Christ!
Could you also
that
was at the last one.
The gorgeous kind of D-Day. Yeah. The gorgeous kind of D-Day thing where it was the top of a cliff, and then there was a pillbox and just nothing, and you're like, I don't want to be on that. Oh my word, do I not want to be on that?
Do you remember the submarine board? Where it's like two massive things.
I played on that. That was really weird. You basically went, see that third of the board? Yeah, just ignore it.
And they had the Gustav gun board as well, where it was just a massive fuck off.
Actually, I probably should add half a point, actually, because there were no fucking railway lines to argue the top over whether or not they're difficult ground or not.
Well, it surprisingly enough, had there been railway lines, they'd have been in the terrain document.
Yeah, it's like, I'm sick to death of arguing the toss over railway lines.
Yeah. Dave did well with the terrain, and it was better than last year again.
Oh, gotcha.
So well done, Dave.
And he painted it all.
It was genuinely really pretty.
Is entirely Dave?
Yeah, all Dave.
Dave, I know you'll be listening. Thank you for your hard work. It's sincerely noted. It's not a quantity or quality issue. It's a distribution issue.
Yeah.
That's it.
Is he painted them, all of the sets? He painted the sets to all match. So when he said don't mix the terrain onto the boards, it's partially because he's built it as a theme board, because they were called Bastogne and Ruined City and Italian Village and stuff. But it's because it was supposed to be on that board because it matched the aesthetic of it. So you don't want to.
I got to play the Italians with my Italians on the Italian board. I mean, it doesn't get much better.
No wonder you lost that. You were too busy going.
Home field advantage, mate. They just tanked you.
There's almost nothing more.
He was playing an Italian player.
The worst thing is nothing does much for your morale, and every time you try and mention a unit name, you get corrected by this beautifully rolling Italian name, and you're like, I don't want to call them the surrender squad. That's just like culturally bad.
At least you didn't play Raphael, because he would just have screamed it at you, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
We'd have all known what was going on.
He was what I call passionate Italian. He will let you know, and you will hear him. And he's all there. He's a wonderful fella.
They're from Naples, so they're the Italians.
Yeah. So because obviously the stereotype for Italy and Italian people is it's all passion and fury and fire. And then you meet Massey and Alessandro are the most cool, chilled, laid-back guys ever. And then you're just like, what the fuck? Have I been lied to? And then you see Raphael like, no, there he is. There he is.
And it was all weekend where Dan was having a laugh and a joke with him going, no,
Gregor. So honestly, I got to play the Italian team for the first time. And playing Alessandro, if you're hopefully listening, because that was probably one of my favourite games all weekend. He was wonderful. That was brilliant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
absolutely amazing.
Well, we said last year that they were an absolute joy to referee, and apart from one incident with Raphael where he wouldn't shut the fuck up, they were again this year.
Yeah.
The times I had to go over, they were very much, what's the ruling? Thank you very much. Yeah. And it was like, oh, we like this.
Yeah. Brilliant. My apologies. He was playing Rich on England 1, and the man's a loose cannon. What can I say?
Yeah. Just on the terrain scores as well, I'll give, because this was one of the questions in the feedback form, and it's a solid 4 on there as well. So that's not bad at all, really. I think
if the community's saying that, Dave, then you've done something right.
Yeah. True that. Right, next one.
Pack. Go for Pack now. Go for Pack.
I didn't read it, so you tell me.
Didn't read it?
Of course I read it.
It was 2 last year.
I mean, it was way better than last year.
No word of a lie. One game, I had to walk up to Rich, and he went, what mission is it? And I went, it's this one. And he went, yeah, I haven't read the pack. Of course you haven't!
The only issue I had was that it didn't contain timings. At least up until very close. I know that's a point of contention.
The timings weren't distributed by the bolt action team. We had no control of them. They were distributed by Dave in general, and we didn't find out about the timings until the Saturday morning.
Is what it is. Is what it is. I mean, it was so much better than previous years. It was really freaking clear. You can do this. You can't do that.
Yeah. And the timings weren't that big a deal, because at the end of the day, everybody's in the hotel. Everybody was getting the 7 o'clock breakfast, because everybody was getting pretty much the early breakfast they could, and so it didn't detract from it.
Well, from our point of view, I found that no matter what time we gave you, you were always there on time.
Yeah,
it was brilliant. If we said, you've got 15 minutes, everyone was there in 10 minutes. It was, it just meant that we weren't having to chase people around to get the odd game here and there started, because everybody was there, everybody knew what they were doing. Boom, on it went.
And that goes down, and a lot of that, and also that goes down to just showing, like, from a team point of view, just like people listen to their captains. I'm not just saying England here. It's like your captain says you're going to be somewhere. People were there. That's just how it operated.
But also, it was in the pack. If you are late, you will be warned, and then you will have a yellow card. And we mentioned to everyone, do not be late. In the captain's chat, I said, if any of your players are late or they turn up drunk and cannot play, you will get a ban immediately. And everyone was on their best behaviour.
I think the introduction of the player's conduct, and not just the introduction of it, but like the formalization of it with like, right, here's the first step, here's second step, here's first step, the consequences listed out, and the fact that you proved on pretty early that you weren't afraid to do it and use it and actually say, right, because sometimes, people would like to test these kind of things, and it didn't take long from the first day to see you start hearing the first people starting to get warnings and shit. So I know it's not really a pack thing, but it's kind of because obviously the law was laid down, and I think that improved things so much for me personally.
Nothing could come. It comes down to the TO side of it, which we'll probably cover later. But everybody knew what was in the pack. Everyone knew what was coming. It's like this is the law, and that's how we'll be doing. And that's how we'll be doing it.
The living FAQ as well. It's so good to see it and properly laid out and formatted so everyone can see it. Did I agree with every ruling in it? No, not the point. It's there. It's accessible. You can see it. So it solves arguments. Yeah.
There were a couple of questions where it is a rule that is played differently no matter where you go. So, for instance, the biggest one that everyone kind of like and ahed about was shooting out of area terrain. The rule book says you need to be touching the edge. And I agree, you do need to be touching the edge. But then you have a lot of arguments about if you're at the edge here and then you're shooting back this way and that's less than an inch, you're technically touching the edge and shooting through less than an inch of cover, so you don't get cover. So to stop arguments on shit like that, you just make it, are you within an inch of the edge? Yes.
I think that also, there you go. I had that in one of my games where I'm sure that for whatever reason the table got bumped and they just had got to the edge, but because we knew that he'd stopped just short of it, there was not a case that he'd accidentally knocked it. It was like, we both went, no, that was inside, and you can move them back, even if it's just a few millimetres, and it stops that bumping or getting knocked, and then you having the big argument.
Yeah. It just stops so many fights, and that's all this weekend was. It was about people playing games that they enjoyed against opponents that they enjoyed, and then at the end of the weekend, everyone talks about their games and how the event went, rather than the stuff that they did last year, and it worked. The code of conduct was brilliant. The additional units pack in it was comprehensive and perfectly laid out.
Although I'd like to apologise for the additional units. Not all of them had a page number. My fault.
Yeah, but it's because we only have some PDFs for some of them. Yeah, there's no SS officer. It can die in a fire. But the missions were all clear, and they told you exactly how to deploy, how to come on, how to play the game, and how to win it. Everything was exactly where you needed it to be. So and all the, like, even the army selection, it told you what your limitations were, what the armies were, and where you found them. It was perfect.
One thing I liked about the missions as well was I liked that they were binary. Well, it was not quite binary. So there was no scale of winning. You either won, you lost, or you drew. So I think I found that really interesting, because if you'd won, you could then concentrate more on secondaries or whatever it happened to be. I quite like the fact that you just won or lost. I don't do draws, so they're a thing that happens to other people.
I'm also really happy that for the first time the WTC finally made it about your team winning and not like winning the match and not just counting wins. And I say that as a team, that if you going off the last year's method of counting, England would have won from counting wins, right? And yet I'm glad that we didn't, because it's a better and more it's a more respectable thing, right, to be able to say this team played this team proved themselves better than that team.
Well, I'm sure
it's a game changer.
I'm sure that when we do the data episode, Spurley will have this sort of information to hand. Yeah. But whether you played as a team or whether you played as individuals this year really wouldn't have changed the scores for almost any team, because everyone, like, I think the difference between the winning team and the second team in terms of team points was a draw, and in terms of individual points, it was like one win. And that's it. And that's what you want. You want it to be that close where literally one game can decide a whole tournament. It was that good.
It was
one dice.
It
was one dice. Yeah.
One of the amazing things, like from the stats side of things, what I've been seeing is actually that in the top 10, I think 3 of the players were actually from like the bottom 5 teams. Yeah, were in the top 10. So
there was some strong players there because they were hard carrying.
Yeah, everyone was spread like all over the board. You know, only 2 people had a perfect weekend. We won't say who.
I will say, just by memory, I know we're not doing stats, but just by memory, I think I saw 1 team draw all weekend.
There was 1 ball draw. Draw.
1 perfect draw, and it came in, and I turned to the captains that gave it in and went, "Mwah, it's not a result, it's art."
And do you know why? I think because the missions dictate that you have to win by 3 points or more, it stops things like in kill points, someone getting 2 up and then doing nothing for the rest of the game, and it stops one of the other players from the other team getting 2 up and doing nothing for the rest of the game, and everyone just goes, well, we got to win, that's a draw for the team then. It actually makes players play the game and be more aggressive to get those points, to stop just drawing every game in total. And I really liked it. I thought everyone had good fun.
Yeah, it was good. Fuck it, I'll give the pack a 5. Like, I don't know what else I'd want from it. Well, honestly, though, I don't know if you have any thoughts, Owen. What else would you want in that pack? Like, sure, it doesn't have timings. Okay, give it a 4.5 or whatever. Couldn't give a fuck. But like, I knew the door was set. You know what I mean? Of what I could do.
I think on the feedback form, I wrote, if anything, the only thing we could do with it could just do with a bit of pizzazz. So when people are looking at whether or not they're going to WTC 20 and they're looking at the pack, it just needed that bit of artwork.
Do you want me to read
and stuff?
Do you want me to read exactly what you wrote, Owen? Because from what you've said, I've worked out which one it is. So,
well, I don't think I wrote anything controversial. It's just,
no, nothing controversial.
I think I gave it. I think I gave it a 4. I think I would give it a 5 because there was literally nothing.
Why did you rate it a 4 then in the readback? You just screwed
up. No, I've not seen what score we actually gave it, but what he said was there was fundamentally nothing wrong with it, and included all the information it should. However, from a sales perspective, it could do with some art direction. Just look at some of the Jugger packs produced by Ant.
Yeah, do you know what? I agree. There will be a couple of changes. I've not fully signed up for next year yet for the bolt action TO in.
Go on.
I'm still on the fence. One, because I kind of want to play. Because it's home nations, I kind of want to do it.
Because we finally started fucking nearly winning, and Dan wants a bit of that good as.
Well, you've not won the last 2 without me in it, so let's have a triumphant return of someone that can make you win.
We've come closer without you than with you, Dan.
Yeah, once.
Last year, with you.
Finished 3rd last year, and that's the same as what me and you got on our own. Yeah, but next year there will be a different. If I do it, there will be a different matchup system, and it will be something that gives captains a chance to actually choose matchups. Unlike the system of old, where you only technically got one chance and the rest kind of all fell into place, this will give captains 2 matches to decide each. And we discussed it on the train on the taxi into Alhambra, and everyone thought it was a really good idea.
To be fair, with the whole matchup thing, I know that was really controversial here because there's a lot of people who are like, "The game's ruined. It's ruined. You've lost the game matchup system." But at the same time, as a player, I was so much more at ease with it because it was just, "There's your player, go play."
Yeah.
Do you know what I like? It just simplified things. There's an
element of you get the thing, and they're like, "And Italy, Owen's Italians is going to be fucking captain with Brits again or something." But I found that fine. I'm quite happy not to have to worry about it.
Well, I've not heard. If I do it, it might be in there. But I do like the random. It just put 4 lists down, because that's what you get at a singles event. Yeah, but it is a team event. People want that element of team.
The only thing I thought is, do you just let people? You pick 4 from the 5 that you've got, and you take the 5 armies with you. So you pick which 4 of those 5 you put down?
Yeah. No.
That requires people to travel with an extra army, and that's
and who's going to? What happens if there's 3 of the armies you would say will always be the same, because the 4th and 5th will be played by the same person. So you'll actually always know what 3 of them are going to be.
Yeah. The only other thing left up in the air at the minute is, do we go 2 platoons like this year and that's it? Or do we go as many platoons as you want for everyone? Or do we do double platoon and 1 theatre list? So that's still up in the air, but that can be decided later.
Is there any thought of whether you bring back the group stage? Because obviously this year it was just straight swishy way to the top, whereas last year.
I hate group stage.
I'll be honest.
I kind of like the group stage.
The group stage is nice, but it's an absolute nightmare for matching.
The only way you could do it is if you seeded it like the Champions League, but then you may as well just hand pick the groups.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work. Fair enough. So I think random for first, straight twist is the way you do it.
I think I miss the groups more than I miss the matching system, like in terms of what only because I just like, if nothing else, it gives you more stuff to do on the run up to, because you get to microanalyze the list in your group more. But again, I'm not that bothered.
Again, though, if Spain 1 get Ireland, England 3, and USA 3, and you have to play Italy, France, and Denmark 1, you're going to be a little bit like, well, how come they've got such an easy ride and we haven't? So it's just easier to do it that way. And because of the way we did it, everyone got it different games unless it was round 6. So we had matchups that were the same as games that had already been played, but because we said in the pack, and it's in the pack, you will not play the same nation twice unless it is literally for the championship or for Wooden Spoon. And that was true. We switched every round when someone matched the same person.
I think the only thing I'd perhaps put in the pack is that on game 6 made it officially allowable that if you randomly get drawn against the person you played before, you should be allowed to swap and play somebody else rather than have to play the same person from the same nation twice.
Oh yeah, we do. Yeah. So the people that we had, so Sweden 2 played Denmark 2 for the Wooden Spoon, and Lars was a bit like, "Oh mate, come on, mate, we've just played them." And I said, "Look, just have a chat to their captain, have a gentleman's agreement, just choose different opponents. Yeah. So you can't get the same one twice, and that's fine. But for yours was for the championship, so you had to do it properly."
Yeah. I ain't bothered. I won my games regardless. So
yeah,
I'd have rather had a less intense game. But is what it is.
If you want a less intense game, lose a couple times.
Yeah, the second game was fine between you two. It was the first one that did it.
Yeah.
So 5 overall. So next one then.
Let's do missions then. It was a 4.5 if you pull in the feedback score of a 4. So
okay.
So let's loop missions in quickly because it's related. Missions 5 out of 5. Fucking loved them.
Thanks, mate.
What was it? It was kill points, sectors,
multiple objectives. Yeah. Then it was a reworded Heartbreak Ridge.
Yeah.
A doctored primary objective, so you can't forward deploy on it, and then penetrated attack, which is like double envelopment, but you can't get off, and you get dice for kills and stuff. Yeah.
I literally have no complaints. Ow.
I don't have any complaints. I don't particularly like some of the missions, but I don't have any complaints with it, if that makes sense. They're just missions that just don't suit me.
Are those the missions you lost, Erwin? Do you need to get good?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Is it because you didn't bring a balanced army, Owen?
Is it because I didn't bring a balanced army?
Yes. Yeah, there you go.
Do you know what you need, Owen?
I'm the guy that Toph had to teach how to win sectors because I was really dumb.
I don't like sectors. I don't like sectors.
Fucking love
sectors. Is great.
Sectors is brilliant.
I really like timely objectives. I
love that mission.
I like it. It means it's right from the word go. Right from the word go, it's brutal. Yeah,
and because people can't forward deploy on it, it's one of those missions where you have to think, shit, what do I sacrifice to not fall behind here? And what do I use to kill as much as I possibly can straight away? Because it goes from 0 to 100 immediately. It's not like kill points where you can do nothing for 5 turns and then take a few dice on the last couple, or objectives where you do nothing but kill for the first 3 turns. It's straight on it, straight away dead. That's it.
I will say, from a TO perspective, though, it's a bloody heart attack.
Yeah.
In what way?
They've got 2.5 hours. You're trying to time manage a couple of them to say, look, come on, you've not got too much time, and you're sat there going, why are they only on turn 3 after quite a lot of time?
Because all the shit's happening earlier. Yeah. Fair enough.
There's no turn 1 to turn 2 of positioning and then death on turn 3.
Yeah,
but that's why I love it. It's full on right from the word go,
and it's different to all the other missions, right?
Yeah,
that's what makes it good. So I really like the mission pack. There's a couple of them that I need to just add a little bit of wording here and there for clarity, for like reserves and stuff. Like everyone knows in sectors, your reserves come on your long table edge.
Yeah.
But it just needs to be written in the pack for 100% accuracy.
We also need to write in that forward observers and things is page 131 of the rule book.
Yeah, forward deploying questions.
And I think there was some confusion over with whether it was 1 roll or 2 rolls for the
prep bombardment.
Prep bombardment.
Yeah, for sectors. Just get rid of the prep.
It won't be there next year.
Don't let Rich hear you say that, because he will climb through your monitor and he will drag you back through it if you get rid of the 1 prep mission.
Honestly, his face when I said that prep is probably going next year when we were on the bus back to the airport, it looked like I'd slapped him. He was that upset.
Well, you put it this way, right? 72 players, 36 games, and I think I counted 2 games where it actually mattered, and everywhere else it was just here's a bunch of pins, everybody rallies.
Yeah. It is literally the most pointless.
It mattered versus my game versus Gerwin. All of his artillery had 2 pins and they never managed to get rid of them. Ever.
Yeah, everything my side got either direct hit or 2 pins.
Yeah,
my opponent didn't, and it was just like, holy crap.
Yeah. Well, it's just the whole. If you make it a roll for each player, 1 in 6 players are going to be fucking upset because they roll a 1. Yeah. If you make it 1 roll for the game, then the British player will get the advantage. And if you make it 1 roll for the TO for the whole room, guess what? I'm rolling a 1, and none of you get it. It's as simple as that. So you can't win with prep.
Do it for everybody in the round. Ready?
I don't feel. I think fundamentally, if you take it out, does the mission get worse? No.
It doesn't.
It's just completely.
It changes how you play it, because currently you deploy as little as you can, and you just reserve everything because you don't want to get hit with by prep. If there is no prep, it's actually better to deploy as much as you can, because then you're not waiting for reserves to come on, and then obviously the game starts earlier, right? Because stuff's already there, stuff can already start happening. Yeah, I'm not adverse to that though. That sounds good.
My only school of thought, apart from prep being shit in general, my only school of thought for how it changes the mission is players will be done quicker, and that's fine by me. Because you've not got to spend a turn rallying, doing nothing, you can actually start killing models. And the quicker you kill them, the quicker they're off the board.
Would you think of maybe meeting halfway and just saying, instead of prep, or like instead of rolling on the table, just both players' entire armies deployed all start on 1 single pin? Every unit.
It's
and then you kind of get it without it being too...
Yeah,
harsh.
It's one of those things where you could house rule it to do that, but it's easier just to remove it. And then it's not house ruling it, it's just writing it out of the mission. And then all you do is you change sectors and call it quarters. And then you do the same thing. So
it's the kind of thing where I was very glad we didn't have any prep bombardment on one of the games that was 47 order dice in the bag.
Yeah.
I was there like, jeez.
Well, I think prep is on key positions. I think it's on sectors, and I think it's on one of the others. And
we only left it in there once.
It was we left it in as a token gesture on sectors, but I think it made it a lot better tournament without it on the other missions.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
And to those British players complaining, you've already got a forward artillery observer for free.
And you've got Uppinatum, and you got Gurkhas, and you got Stuarts, and you got land mattresses. Shut the fuck up.
You basically got your lovely crutches in your wheelchair, and you're like, woo!
Yeah. Okay, so 5 for that then. TO.
He's a cunt, 1 out of 10.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good job, Spurley. Nice one.
Fuck you.
Yes, Spurley, you let me down. God.
You know what? This was really weird and awkward for me, as you guys as the TO. Because obviously you guys have got a job to do, and it's more important than any other event we run that you get it right. Because if we mess up not 4 steps back, who gives a shit, right? It's a 1-dayer. Even Battle of Britain is like, it's a GT, but it's still nothing in compared to like how much of an impact the WTC has. Which means you guys needed to be absolutely on it and spick and span, and obviously me as a player needed to leave you guys alone and let you get on with it, and then most importantly, not giving up the impression that I was getting any special treatment or anything, which fundamentally there wasn't. No. In that you guys were almost hostile to me at times, where you were, I'd walk up to say hi and you'd be like, "Fuck off out of the room," and I was like,
"That's the rule. That is the rule.
It is the rule. It is honestly the rule." But over the course of the weekend, it was so weird and isolating for me to like see my best friends and not be allowed to go and talk to them or interact with them in any sort of way. Like, obviously, I'm not saying, like, obviously I've got, like, I was with Alex and Luke and Reach on Union one time, and I fucking get on with them like a house on fire. So it's not like I was all lonely, but it was just so weird. It's like, it's, when you see
the weirdness the weirdness for me, right, is you or Rich or Luke, somebody go TO, and I'm there like, I've got strict instructions. Dan, you need to sort that, Yeah,
exactly. So it was obviously you guys doing such a good job at maintaining like the boundaries, the integrity, the boundaries and the integrity of the event. actively infected my social life, which is like it's the right thing to do. It's just a weird acknowledgement of it. You know what I mean?
And it was very telling that Sunday night when we sat down to start drinking, it was all over. You just went, guys, what a hug, Dan, I love you. Talk to me.
Well, I was very adamant from before the event and when it started, during and after. I don't care who wins the WTC. Obviously, I would like it if England did because I've been on the team. They're my friends. I want them to do well and enjoy their time. But fundamentally, I do not give a shit. The only thing I care about is that at the end of that event, everyone comes away and says, Dan, Pete and Spurley, you've done a good job. We have no complaints. There is nothing wrong with the event. No bias, no favoritism for anyone, no terrible decisions like changing the scores halfway through like they did a couple of years ago. And my name was against that event. And that was the fundamentally most important thing, is people at the end of it think I and my team have done a good job. So I was harsh to everyone to drive that message home, to say, I know Toph is here. I know he's a mate. I know I play with him every week, but I don't care that he's here. It's my event. Fuck off.
Nothing reinforces that you can't fuck about than Dan doing his standing basically in front of England and Spain, reading them the riot act before anything's happened. The effects that has on all the other competitors should not be underestimated, because you're like, okay, we don't want the Eye of Sauron. We don't want the Sauron. That's for fucking sure.
To you guys' credit as well, obviously the WTC has had a mixed past in regard to like player behaviours and stuff like that. And it was really nice to see you laying down the fucking law and being like, here's the strike system, fuck you. Do you know, like, and like, when obviously England and Spain, we had a shit time last year in regards to, and all that drama, let's not bring it up. So when you acknowledged it head on, it went, right, you two are playing, I am the TO, shut the fuck up. Like, and I think that level of strictness is what's been missing in the past. And I'll tell you what, as a player, it made you still a little bit straighter. If my back allowed it, obviously I was still a bit careful.
But there was a couple of players down the other. So just before you, there was a couple of players down the other end that turned and looked at Dan doing that and was kind of what the, and I just went, just calm down. He's game managing. Leave him alone.
Yeah. You know, there was two things throughout the weekend. There was one of them where Rich was playing Raphael, and Raphael was doing something to try and make his model stand straight because it was on a bit of terrain, and trying to say this is what's going to happen. And Rich was saying you can't do that because you're declaring what's happening, and you're supposed to be measuring to see where you go and stuff. And there was a bit of miscommunication between them. Raphael thought Rich was calling him a cheat. Rich thought Raphael was doing something that he shouldn't have been doing. And when I came over, neither of them would shut the fuck up. So I told them, shut up. I'm talking, shut up. And they kept going. So I said, right, Alex, Mas, come here as team captains. Tell your players to shut up now. I'm issuing them with a warning. And everyone around us heard it. And from that point onwards, I didn't have to tell anyone off or issue any other warnings throughout the event. And the bit Toph's referring to with the English and the Spanish was they were top after day one and they had to play each other game 4. And I got them over before the game started and I said, look, lads, this is a match that's potentially for the title. I do not want any cheating. I do not want any allegations. I do not want any fighting or bad blood between anyone. I just want 4 happy games and 8 players that have enjoyed their time. And at the end of it, you can shake hands, walk away from the table, and whoever is the best player has won the game. And do you know what? They did. And that's all I could ask for. I mean, we stayed around and we watched that game. We watched all 4 games up and down, and I was the only one that could referee on that game because it was it was a big game, and we wanted a central point of this is the law and you cannot do anything other than this, and it worked perfectly. And Yano and Toph had a bit of a frosty start because of what happened last year, but after that they kind of just got on with their game and everyone else had a good game. And I think Spain won that round, but they deserved to because they were the better players and there was no allegations of anything. And that's just the way it is. That's how the dice dropped.
And I will say, just before it gets noted by anybody that by any of the England one or Spain that actually noticed, anytime Dan went to the toilet, he went to the next experienced TO and went, "You sit down." And that was, I think I made, I had one ruling to come over where I was like, "Here we go, Dan's not here, let's be squeaky clean." Got over to the table and they just went, "No, actually, go away." And it's like, okay.
And to be honest, I didn't actually rule on that much. It was just having the presence there to have someone to say.
I was going to say, for me, it was the presence thing. Yeah. It's he's right there, so there's no point trying to fuck about because he's there. It's almost like when you walk through the airport, you see the man with the gun. He's not going to shoot you. It makes you feel a little bit safer.
It was like the best thing from rugby, wasn't it? It's like the rugby refs where they're like, they bring them all over. It was the best aspect of that, which should be in other sports. It was that I'm in charge, captains come over here, and it's laying down the law, and it just works better.
And I will say, round 4 and round 6, the start of those 2 rounds, me personally, most stressful rounds ever. Because Spurley's sorting some stuff out on the socials, right? Dan's on that table, and I'm going, "Oh, here we go! Got a room. Run here, you know." And I think Dan commented, going, "He's got his old man run on again."
Round 4 was the busiest round for TO questions. It was just...
It was getting real.
Every time it was, whose toes is Spurley, go over there, I've got this one, you know?
Across the room, and it was...
Round 4 is when the big boys really start playing each other. Because round 1, you can get drawn against a randomer. Round 2, you can get a team that won't be up there by the end, but they've managed to win their first game. But round games 3 onwards, and especially game 4 onwards, is when the big dogs come to play. Spain one. By the end of it, I was just sat there like this, looking across the other tables and walk into like the Italians playing the US and just answering their questions because there was nothing else to do on the Spanish table because they'd learnt who's in charge. They weren't fucking around and they were all just enjoying their games. It was perfect.
At one point, I had to take Dan a blanket because he was sat there and he was cold.
Yeah, just because the atmosphere between Toph and Yano was frosty.
It was funny enough when from the other side of the hall, I'm looking at Dan going, "Do you need a drink, mate? What do you want?"
I put in the referee chat, didn't I? I put, "Oh, it's been cold down here, someone bring me a blanket." There wasn't any like malicious intent to it. Toph had just woken up and he was shitting through the eye of a needle. Yano struggles to speak English a bit, so they were both a bit
Yano wasn't
with
feeling
each other.
very well either,
I think Yano had a bit of a cough.
Yano had a cold as well, and he had a mask on to protect him from coughing and stuff. So they were both not 100%, and it was like
we were both pleasant enough with each other, right? But like, and also there's probably a bit of a personality clash. But you know what? We just fucking got on with it. Like, we just played the fucking game. And that's exactly what you want. Was it my most enjoyable game all weekend? No, of course not. Because
but it wasn't as bad as last year, right?
Exactly.
And that's what is. That's
exactly. We got through it. Plus, I won both games, which made me feel really great.
Yeah.
And poor old captain of Spain 1, Carlos, got as I think that's him on the comments. Got delivered by multi-launcher mail a couple times.
Ooh. Yeah.
He had his own multi-launchers. He's in no position to.
I think he had one game where it's just all the multi-launchers.
Yeah. But in regards to beyond the type of games, like when it's not less serious, but like less contested, let's say. I loved all the rulings. In that, I'd put my hand up to you, call one of you over, I'd get a ruling. Wicked. It was short, sharp, straight, go. Did I agree with all the rulings? Fuck no. There's a few of them where I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Doesn't matter. Yes, Tio.
I did one ruling wrong. So there was a couple
you got more than one, but like it doesn't matter.
What was the other one then? Because there was one. There was the artillery barrage one.
Yeah.
I can't remember the other ones.
You're testing my memory now. But there was at least a couple where I did think to my head, I was like, if we was at Clubman, we could have an half-hour argument there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If we was at Clubman, I'd fucking have you over this. But it's like, you know what? No, you're not wanting a debate. You're just wanting a ruling there and then so you can carry on with your game. The perfect one is just the speed at which, am I in cover? Yes or no? This looks like it's 5.9 inches. Am I in range? Yes or not? Just being able to get you to come over and go spot. Yes, no, bam. Get the game over and done. That's the key bit for me. Like, we all pretty much, there's a lot of good players at WTC. For the most part, 99% of them know the fucking rules. If there's going to be an argument about anything, it's am I 50% covered or not? Am I in
most of the inquiries?
Exactly.
Most of the inquiries were, can I see that?
Yeah. And that's what you want TA for, right? That's for you to just come in and make an arbitration nice and quickly. For whatever reason, you don't want to 4+ it.
You
and we didn't need 4+ it because you're right there.
You should have seen how relaxed players got when they were asking for cover for shots and things. And the first thing I would do is, have you declared your order? And you can see them going, oh, yes, I've declared. It's brilliant. Yeah. Right, if you can't see, you miss.
Yeah.
But the thing as well, like the prep bomb, not the prep bombardment, the artillery observer one that I got wrong for you, because in the rule book it doesn't say it, and I missed it in the FAQ, and afterwards Spurley showed it to me because I'd read it wrong, and I thought it referred to warplanes, and it doesn't. It says like warplanes, so I got that wrong, and that's when an artillery barrage comes in. Can you recce from it? And I read the rule book, and I was like, well, no, because you're not technically a target. But in the FAQ it says that you are a target and you can recce, but I thought it was for warplanes, so I did get that wrong. But I played it the same on 3 boards, so everyone got the same rule.
The thing is, it doesn't matter, right? Because we got a ruling and the game continued, and that's what's important. If I'd lost my game, if I'd lost the entire game because I thought I could recce from an artillery barrage and you ruled that I couldn't, that's on me for making the game too tight. That it comes down to that tiny little thing, right? Like, we just needed a ruling to get over and through the game, and that's why. And again, that's why it's really easy just to be like, yes, TO, whatever.
Yeah. I think that's the key. Just go to the TO. It's don't be afraid. I think I had 4 TO calls, and they were all things I knew I was absolutely spot on. But rather than have an argument at the table, just call TO over.
And I think that you can have that debate in the car park, in the pub, in the bar later. Was pull your rulebook out and go, and like even when I was ruled against me, it's not like I suddenly felt like, oh, this guy thinks I'm an idiot, because I know my rules and I know when I'm right or not. But it's not about being right. It's about getting through your game. So for me, I couldn't ask for more in terms of TOing, except it'd be nice if you smiled at me and spoke to me every so often, for fuck's sake, you hard bastards.
Carry on like this, I'll kick you out of this chat.
The thing you'll have also noticed was anything where it's like, I've had to go this way or that way with the ruling, me and Spurley would double back to Dan and get 3 of us together and we've gone this way, this is how it is. And every table would then get the same ruling.
And do you know what as well? In the captain's chat, we said, we are a tool, use us. We are literally here to make your game. If you are 99.9% sure, just the same as Owen was with his rulings, even if you're 99.9% sure and the other person is like, oh, I'm pretty sure as well, but let's just clarify, they just got us over and it was done instantly.
I mean, you know how a lot of TOs go, their first step is, have you checked the rule book? And it's like, but that can be so, especially with bolt action, that can be so fucking long and so drawn out. You could spend 30 minutes of your time flicking through books and FAQs and stuff. It's so much easier to go, TO, can I charge for rough ground? Yeah. Wicked.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with it, right, is a lot of them I would come up and I'd listen to the question and then go, okay, this is quite simple. I'll pull up the rules and go, come on, boys. But if it's complex, I know it's in about 4 different areas, I go, no, it's this, and just move everything on. Because otherwise you'll be there reading forever.
But it's also nice.
And poor old, like round 6, everybody's brains mush. Poor old Alan got me a question from England too, and went, is it round up or round down? I went, it's round up, mate. And he's just like, oh no.
It was nice to see if it was like a particularly difficult question that you'd give a ruling there and then, but it might be that you come back 20 minutes later with a page and go, we've done the homework for you. It's here. You know,
French. One of the French was like, can I shoot through this unit? And is it additional -1? And I said, no, it's just soft cover. And he was like, well, that's not how we play it in France. I said, I can assure you, mate, a intervening unit counts as soft cover, so you don't stack it. And he went, okay, I don't think so, but okay. I said, it is. Play the rule and I will go and find it for you. And I went back 10 minutes later and I showed him the rule book with it in. Yeah. And he went, thank you very much. I now know where to find it for when I go and play at home. It's like, yes, you did
Another thing, which I think it sounds obvious, but I need to acknowledge it. is that you were fucking there.
Yeah.
There was never a moment there wasn't at least one TO in earshot.
Yeah.
Like, you might have been dealing with something else. Maybe I had to wait my turn for you guys to come over. Or maybe Dan's gone for a shit and Pete's doing numbers, so Burley's running around, I have to wait a bit longer. But you was there, and like that's not always been the case for previous WTC years when people have gone, oh, there's only one of them and he's gone for a piss. Do you know what I mean? Like, that is real. That's probably a bigger impact than any of the shit we just mentioned.
We made a very conscious effort. Like, one of us would be patrolling up and down one side, and we'd say, right, just go round to the other side of the tables and patrol up and down that one as well. Because it's so easy to just stick to the central aisle and never look at those left-hand side tables. But we made a very conscious effort that when one was patrolling one side, another was on the other side, going up and down, and just spending like 30 seconds stood at the end of the table. Just make sure everything's okay, and then you move on to the next one and look up that one for 30 seconds, and then rinse and repeat all the way down the line. And once you've done that, you can then just leisurely walk back to the top, and then 5 minutes just sitting down, have a drink and waiting for a call, and then do it again, just so that people know you're there, and then they could rely on you to be called on.
I think it's quite telling that we probably spent 30 minutes or 40 minutes talking about this, and we haven't at any point, we're not arguing over some shitty decisions. Actually, we're just talking about all the good things and where the things that should be carried forward. I think that's, just thinking at the timing, that's really quite telling.
Yeah. I love the dice pool method for the order dice bag, because it just stops all the shenanigans. But when people are putting them up here, right, and hands are flying up, I'm stood there at the side going, no, that's not a question. No, that's not a question.
I did see one person try and put it on his head, and he dropped the bag, and it went fucking everywhere. And I thought, oh, for fuck's sake. But I mean, I'll be the first to admit there probably is one or two rulings that we did get wrong.
There always will be, though.
That's
very obscure, because they're very. It's not like you've gone, how does a gun fire? And you go, I don't fucking know, just guess, mate. It's like the artillery thingy one that is an FAQ that is a sentence long that mentions warplanes. That's easy to miss, and we did get that wrong. Next year that won't happen, but 99.9% of the rules were absolutely spot on. So
and I will say, look, most of the time, if we got to a table and we got one story from one player, one story from the other, it's like, well, we're just going to throw dice for this, then we, you know?
Yeah, the only real controversial ones were, there was about 4 or 5 occasions where it was he said, she said.
See, I didn't get any.
We all know in situations like that, there's 3 truths. There's what one player says is the truth, what the other player says is the truth, and then what actually happens. So you just 4-up it, and you say, well, I can't prove it either way. This is just the way the game's got to go. And that's it.
Yeah.
Go on then. Take your 5 for Tio.
Take your 5.
Only a 5.
The score on
devastated.
The score on feedback could drop this down. So,
yeah.
Did you call too many people? Did you shout at too many people, Dan, when you was like, fuck you, I am God, cunt, listen to me?
I only got to use the sentence, this is my WTC 3 times.
I mean, I'll put my hands up. There was I think one or two occasions where the player went, look at this, while I was answering, and went, yeah, actually, we'll just...
Yeah,
but it happens though. Sometimes they call you over to show you the rule to prove they are right to the other player, and that's fine. And we don't know the bolt action rule book inside out. We know 99% of it, but do you know what? There is some stuff in there that you get wrong because it's so fucking obscure sometimes. You know, if you want to fire a mortar, for instance, you need to know how team weapons fire, how fixed weapons fire, how indirect works, how spotters work, and everything like that. And they're in like 3 or 4 different sections of the rule book. So it's impossible to know it all.
Yeah, and then someone will bring some obscure unit that's got
a campaign unit that does something magical.
Yeah.
And then you got the artillery piece where, what do you mean that multi-launcher can advance, spin, and fire at me? It's like, yes, mate, sorry.
Yeah, I'll give you an example of how obscure units work. Michael, the motherfucker guy from Denmark 1.
Yeah.
Michael C, yeah.
Yeah. One of the Welsh lads said, can we get a ruling on how his Sahariana vehicle works? And I said, yep, no problem. So I went over before the start of the round. I said, Michael, can you show me your unit entry for the Sahariana? And he said, yeah, here it is. And I said, brilliant, thank you, mate. And I said, right, you can move through rough ground, which is classed as rocky and sandy without penalty. And I thought, there you go. on this board, it's all woods except this bit here, which I'm classifying as rocky, so you can move through that. And at the end of the round, he comes to me and says, I've just had a phone call from my mate because I complained his vehicle was shit. We were looking at the wrong unit entry. I said, well, that's your fucking unit entry, mate. You're supposed to know the rules.
Yeah. Turns out it was the Sparva Bertie from Italy Soft Underbelly that just ignores rough grain.
I can't remember what one of the quests I got Dan over for. I can't remember what it was. It was like whether a unit. Oh, it was whether British upper Natum tanks can charge or not. Well, whether the upper Natum rule just applies with infantry. And they asked Dan the question, and Dan just went to the other guy. You got your army book? And he kind of just shut himself. He was like, and Dan was like, got your army book? Show me the rule.
Again, it's in the pack. If you've got a rule that you want to prove, bring your army book or your campaign book that unit is in.
Well, I did photocopy the Sav Cav and the other bits. I didn't bring the whole books, but I photocopied the pages and had them all in the thing, all ready to go.
But then you've got the rules ready to go.
I've got the rules,
Yeah. I think one lad didn't get a ruling because he couldn't prove that his unit had a thing because he didn't have the PDF to hand and he couldn't find it in it. So I knew the ruling, but that's not the problem, mate. Yeah. You need to prove your rules. So
It was one of those where first round it was like, can he move his artillery in there? And I went, no, it's rough ground, you can't move it in there. And then he went, here's the page that says I can. And then I flipped and I went, oh yeah, it does, but here's the page that says he can't.
Yeah, that's one thing I learned, everyone. Mules can move through cover.
Italy Soft Underbelly mules can move. They move as infantry, so off we go.
So you can move into cover, but then technically, are you ever allowed to unlimber your gun? Because a gun can't move into or out of terrain, but you could technically deploy it 1 inch away from the thing and not move. So it's a hard one.
That was one of the debates we had after the event at Macclesfield, me and you, Dan, wasn't it? Because one of my opponents drove his vehicle into cover, and it was just like, well, you can't get it out.
You can't get out now. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, maybe I won't go into the cover and just pull it back a little bit. So
we had another guy that shot a artillery piece and made it then lose coherency with the guys on the opposite sides. So it was like, well, what do we do? Because we can't technically get into coherency, but we have to be in coherency, and you must regain coherency as soon as possible. So I was like, I don't know. So we just ruled it, you can issue a run order, get back into coherency, and then you carry on as normal. But it's an odd one, right? Because the rules don't really cover that. It's one of those quirky ones.
It may have been wrong by the letter of the rules, but you don't want to be the guy that's sat there going, your game's ruined!
Yeah.
There's a one shot, Yeah.
Anyway, right, next one. Prizes. Oh, do you want to do prizes last or atmosphere next?
We'll do atmosphere. Save prize till the end, yeah.
Cool, so atmosphere. So last year this was scored a 4 for general overall merriment, but a few souring notes.
Oh, that sounds like something off the back of a bottle that Owen's reading out to us.
That is a Shiraz, actually.
Yeah. I'm just going to start with, I hear there was some right awful TO that kept telling people to get out of the room, and even had to tell people's family to get out of the room, and even turned around to an 11-year-old child and told them to get out of the room.
You're what an arsehole. Fucking horrible. I'm going to let Owen go first as the newbie.
I was going to give it a 5. Everyone I met, and maybe because I wasn't at the top of the standings, everyone I met, I had great games. I had really good chats with guys from the US in the bars afterwards. There were loads of really good people there. I know it's the kind of cliche bolt action thing, but I just found it really great. I had really great games. And I think all of our games were played in a really good spirit. All of our team matches, really good spirit. The captains got on with it. I just thought it was fantastic. And it was just nice to be there with 15 or 14 of your mates, really. So I had a great time, to be honest. I wasn't sufficiently high up to have to worry about difficult players and everything else. I played some very good players. Well, I played some very good players. They played well. I think probably helped by they smashed me, makes them a bit easier to deal with. But yeah, I had a great time.
Good. That's what we want to hear.
Toph for audio listeners that aren't watching the stream, Toph is scratching his chin because he's debating whether to go. Yeah. He's debating whether to go with a 4 like last year or a 5.
It's so it was a 4 last year, and I feel like I probably scored it too high last year. To be honest, it's not letting me much room. Well, no, because it's definitely a massive improvement this year over last year. Massive, and I've already said I think a lot of that comes down to you guys, and obviously laying down the law and that kind of thing, and a lot of players and captains reining their necks in as a result of that.
Oh, the captain's great this year.
That being said, we're still not there yet, from my experience. Now, again, it might just be because I'm at the other end of the scale to Womble, where shit gets more intense, and for all the right reasons. And I want to say I don't like blame or judge any one player or person or anything like that, but I still saw people trying shit. Do you know what I mean? And it's a real. And again, the doubt is in me because. Do you not know the rule, or are you pretending to not know the rule in case you get a ruling in your favour? Do you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So I don't know if I can ever really give this a proper score again, because am I just too burned now from past events? Maybe, but for me, it's still just kind of it's a lingering doubt. Like 99.999% of players and games absolutely fine, stunning, but there's still that. Doubt in me.
I think because of who you are and how good you are, I think people feel they need to gain more to try and beat you. Whereas when you're playing some quirky Italian list that nobody understands, I don't get any of that. I can normally get people go, "What the fuck are you playing?" But no, I think I didn't have any of that experience at all.
I'm gonna say, as a referee that's looking up and down and looking at all of these games, I saw very, very, very few occasions where people are trying it on. So whether it's just because you're at the top, you look for it more, which, like your game against Yano, the first one, I could see you were getting really, really pissed off when he was using his 6-inch measuring stick to measure a run, and he would measure the first set of 6 and then the second set of 6, and I could see it driving you up the wall. And I could see it turning in your head going, just fucking move your models, mate. Just do it all in one go. Use your tape measure. You own a tape measure. And it's little bits like that I think you're too focused on that. And I think it's colouring your experience.
I think you're correct. So another thing is when people have like a Stuart, and obviously you're firing 13 shots for the 2 light machine guns and the medium machine gun, rather than just picking up 13 dice and throwing them all, going... Here's 5, here's 4, here's 4, and stuff like that. So I think you're right. I think it is more just a me problem now. But it's me giving the score, and therefore I'm going to judge it like that. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to blame anyone. I don't want to say, fuck you. But this is pretty much the highest level of competition you can get to in bolt action, and therefore, when the stakes are that high, and maybe it is because I'm on edge the entire weekend because I'm watching people like a hawk. Far more than I normally would at any normal event, because I don't want to get caught out.
You descended into some weird kind of basement reality I didn't know existed. It was full on gaming basement, Toph, of I am focused on nothing but this game. You know, I will not pay attention to my opponent trying to make jokes. This is the game. I am winning.
It was on Sunday when I was shitting and chundering, and I got angry because I was like, obviously I had a shit time last year. I am not letting me being ill get in the way this year. So I almost kind of just like descended into subatomic
again. The worst game you had this year was Game 4.
Yeah.
Because you were so ill, and I think it coloured your experience.
I don't doubt it.
Where I was sitting, I was sat at the end of your board watching down all 4 of them, because yours was the one that was like, well, last year this is where the issues were.
Yeah.
And apart from you two being not on each other's Christmas card list, there was nothing wrong with the game. There was a few, can he do this, can he do that? But the behaviour that I saw across the weekend, you would get that in any bolt action event, whether it's small or big. It's just that you see it as big because you're at the top and it's the biggest competition.
I guess because when people do shit like that at like Megatron, say, who gives a fuck? It's not the same level,
because you've not travelled hundreds of miles.
Exactly. If I go to 7th City and someone measures a 12 and a half inches when they're moving their models. Frankly, don't give a fuck.
Well, when we went to Seven City the other week, and I played Nurgle with Regen, and I forgot that they hadn't got it anymore because I was playing the old rules, and we just went, oh, fuck it, and then just laughed for 20 minutes and just cheated our way out of it.
Exactly. So it's I don't blame people. It's definitely a me problem.
Yeah.
But it's still a me thing. So I can't not include that in my score, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm similar in the fact that when I'm gaming, I'm very much like, no, you declare your order first, full stop. Like, and I know people hate that. They love having a quick look, and I'm like, declare, then let's go. And they just look at me like, you're an arsehole, and I'm like, yes.
I'm exactly the same though. Like, when it comes to things like when I was moving my tankettes, when I was checking angles, when I was moving my cavalry, I was making sure I was being fucking deliberate because I was thinking in my head, I'm at the fucking top here. You need to make sure you're doing it properly, because if you don't do it properly, you get Dan coming over, calling you a cunt, pulling a yellow card and shoving it in your face. So like when that's going on in my head,
all I'll say is your game against Yano. If that was round 5 at Welsh Nationals and you were both in the bottom third, that would have been an absolutely fine game, and you would have behaved a lot differently.
Yeah, you're right.
So,
you're right. You're right.
For me as well, because I know Womble's giving it a 5 and you're giving it a 4. As TO, after last year, the fact that I wanted full control because I wanted to make this an event people wanted to attend. And last year, I mentioned this in the bar when I was talking to you guys, last year, after the 6th game, everyone was a little bit despondent, a little bit pissed off, and we all sat round that table, and I held that dice in my hand, and we were saying, this is the dice that we found for the Spanish team. And everyone was discussing, are they cheating? Is it this? Is it that? Oh, what's happened here? Blah, blah, blah. And when we finished our games this year, we all sat around with all the other team members from like USA and Wales and Denmark and stuff came over as well. And we were just talking about how the games went and how everyone performed. And on the Monday, when we were going to Alhambra and when we were going to the airport in the vans, the only thing people were talking about was, let's try and find the statistics to see what happens and how can we improve our Soviet list because that was the weakest, and what are we going to do next year to improve the teams and make Team 2 better as well, because we think there's players in 3 that could step up. And that was it. That's all I wanted. I didn't want anyone saying, oh, you fucking ruled this, you twat, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't want, oh, he cheated because he rolled this, that, and the other, and this dice was marked. Everyone was just talking about their games, and it was brilliant. And honestly, when you get to the end of an event and that's what you hear and that's what you wanted as a TO, you can just kind of like relax and just go, thank you. Yeah. That is what I wanted.
That is it.
Like, for example, last year I was playing, and I don't think many people went up to the TOs after and went, thank you very much. Like, I went up to you last year, Dan, and went, good job, buddy, because that looked stressful.
Yeah.
But this year, I think we couldn't get out the hall and say hello to like Toph that we hadn't spoken to for 2 days, more or less, because we were just getting mobbed by players going, thank you very much. And we're like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, all the captains, I think, bar maybe a couple of them that had to head off early, came to thank us. Loads of players came to thank us, and people were stopping us during the game. Like Bo at the end of round 4, I'd went outside to catch a bit of fresh air and have a drink and walk back in, and as I was walking in, he grabbed me by the shoulder just going, this is a good event, calm down, and then let me walk back into the hall. And I really think everyone enjoyed themselves. I can't think of anyone that went away from that event thinking, well, I'd never go to the fucking WTC again. And that's what everyone was thinking for the last few years.
Quite the opposite, because coming into this event, I was thinking this is probably going to be my last one.
Yeah.
And now, and coming out of this event, the thought of, do I want to quit competing and like join the TO team and everything? I'm like, you know what? No. So if nothing else, that in itself is a win, because I was in a doubtful place. Whereas now I'm like, I'm a fucking player. Like, England's going to win next year, and I'm going to be there when it happens. I'm going to make it happen. Sub-Zero, subatomic, angry tofu, come back out again.
It'd be a lot easier if I was on the team, but you know.
Get good.
Get good.
Hey, to be honest, right?
Yeah. Dan, no, I'm going to throw more shade. The standard of play has well increased since you dropped out, buddy.
Because people have got to step up, isn't there?
Yeah. People are getting better.
Sorry. Let's compare the top 10 that finished and when we do the stats show and see where people like Yano and Alex and Luke actually finished when they come first and second.
I don't give a shit about them. I didn't have to play them. I'm talking about everyone else.
Well, the thing is, Dan, I'm going to stroke your ego. You did an awesome job all weekend because I was quite happy because you're head TO. I was quite happy to just take your direction. Like, I think there was one moment where I went, personally, I disagree with you, but as we're TOing, yes, boss, and that was it.
So I would personally score Atmosphere a 6. Obviously, it has to be a 5. Come on. It has to be a 5.
TO calm down. You did good. You did good.
No, the TO score's been done. I don't care about that anymore.
I think I had a couple of games where people were really interested in my list, and weirdly, if we could talk afterwards, and they just were like really complimentary and just about different play and stuff, and I just found that really, for someone being the first time being complimented by USA One captain. Going, actually, I didn't see it. I like what you're doing. That's a massive lift for a relatively newbie like me.
Give it 1 million out of 5 because I had a load of US guys coming over asking me to take their picture with me because I'm like some sort of
Swedish. That was weird. That was weird. There we were at the end. They'd waited. There we were at the end. They'd waited around. We're all packed up, and then they come over and go, "Can I get a picture of you three?" And we're like, "Okay."
Yeah, when my friends see this, they're going to go mental.
It was when I played Felix, and he was like, "Oh my god, I'm so pumped that I get to play Toph," and I'm like, "Well, this is fucking awkward because I'm just me."
This is awkward.
And he goes, "And if I win, I get to say that I've beaten Toph, but it's not fair because if you win, no one's going to give a fuck because no one knows who I am." I'm like, "Thanks, mate."
No, I will say, massive shout out to Felix because USA One had a problem. They got 3 players there. The 4th one was nowhere to be seen. Felix had been playing the singles, so he's already played 6 rounds, and then got asked to play the teams. In he went, played 6 more rounds. That man, over 4 days, had 12 games of bolt action.
He's probably been sacked, though, because he was supposed to be back at work Monday, and that wasn't happening. So if you need a job, mate, let me know. I owe you one. Sorry,
yeah. Next one, then. Prizes.
Okay. Same as last year, about on par. Last year, in that they had prizes for 1, 2, and 3 the teams, and wooden spoon, and best painted, and that was about it. Really, they had spot prizes. To be fair, no, I'm saying that there was spot prizes, and some of the spot prizes were pretty fucking phenomenal. One of them was like killing an officer and getting an entire fucking army for free.
Yeah, it was kill your commander. We tried, so it was set over all 3 of them. Kill the commander, get an army. And I turned around when the decision was made to kill the commander and went, you know how quick it is to kill a lieutenant in bolt action. This is take no time at all.
11 minutes.
Behold, 11 minutes into a round.
11 minutes.
Didn't you know
from USA 2, here's a new army.
It was always going to be a multi-launch, wasn't it?
It was a multi-launcher, yeah.
I was a bit like, wait a minute, I'm going to have to get right the other entire side of the board if I'm going to do that. I turn 6 before I get there.
Wasn't it round 4, the army prize?
Yeah.
Because I just remember thinking, man, I'm playing Spain. Yeah. They ain't going to give me an officer kill. You know, that's not gonna...
But you're at the top end of the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure I heard Toph say that he doesn't care about the result. He was going for that officer. You know, he didn't care whether he won. He wanted a second French army. That was what he was in it for.
I wouldn't have taken that. You know exactly what I would have done with that French army. I would have gone to club, found Billy, and gone, "Oi, mate, here's an army."
Yeah.
That's what I would have done.
Yeah. It was like some of the spot prizes were just like, oh, okay, here we go. Like one of them was like, the captain's got to finish and win. Go. Like there was 2 where it was on the captain, and round 6 was first captain to finish, and if it's captain versus captain, whichever one won. And I think that was within 45 minutes because the start of the game, you know, it's down on the wooden spoon tables. The start of the game, the guy's been battered by a multi-launcher, and he's just gone. It's just gone. It's too hot in here. It's too noisy. The game's gone your way. Can we just call it? It got called. I walked over to the table and went, "You're the captain, right? Yeah. This is definitely called. Definitely, yeah. put it in as a results. As soon as the results went in, I went, there goes the spot price.
If I didn't know that one, and if I had known, I would have gone to Alex and go, look at me, I am the captain now, and then just done top speed. Just been done in 10 minutes.
No, we had a list of captains.
I know, right? Don't take the joke from me.
See, it's that kind of attitude that only scores a 4 out of 5 out of the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Look at me, I'm the TO now.
I do have a problem with prizes, though.
Uh-oh.
Go on.
Where there was a lot more advertised than showed up.
Yes.
Because Spurley was doing lots of posts about here's a sponsor from here, and here's a sponsor from here, and here's a sponsor. There was turfs, there was deep cut studios offering a mat, and there was a bolt like dice stuff and stuff. Where the fuck was that? There was so much stuff advertised that didn't show up. Firstly,
I do want to say Spurley fucking aced prize support. He almost pulled a Dan, and he got fucking loads of it, which was brilliant. So well done, mate. Secondly, some of the prizes were, because they were generic or generic enough, you can split them over the systems. So because Star Wars and Hobbit weren't able to get as many prizes because their sponsors aren't as generous because of
licensing,
that's the cost of it, licensing, that sort of stuff, and trademarks and all that sort of shit. There was less to go around for them from their specific stuff, so they stole a little bit of the bolt action stuff to spread across for the generics, like dice trays and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Second of all, some of the prizes, and I don't necessarily agree with this happening, because when Spurley got them, I think he sold it as, this is a nearly 100-man team tournament. This is what we want prizes for. Some of them were earmarked for the singles event, which on the face of it is fine. You could take 1 or 2 here and there, but when you're giving out loads of stuff and the bolt action event was a 6-man tournament, I don't agree with that. I think, yes, you want to try and thank players for coming because they've spent the extra money to be there for the extra days, but that prize support was got for the other thing. So don't do that. And then last of all, because there were some issues throughout the day for other systems where Excel spreadsheets that were keeping the scores went wrong, official ones from GW as well, timings were a little bit off, matchups were incorrect, stuff like that. Some of the prizes weren't given out when they were supposed to be because the logistics of it broke down. Yeah. So some of the prizes weren't given out. They're still with Dave, so that he's going to contact the sponsors and say, can we keep this for next year, or can we give out these at a different event that we run?
Yeah.
So that they can agree to do that or have them returned. But yeah, there was a lot that wasn't given out, and it was because things went wrong on that second day that then drew his attention away from giving them out. So there was supposed to be more given to the players, but I don't agree. To be the main thing for me is I don't agree that they should have been given out to the singles event, because we got them for the team event. But shit happens, stuff has happened. Sponsors will be contacted to say, look, we had a failure. This is the reason for it. What do you want us to do? Because I mean, when we do our events, we do it on the proviso that we shout out all the sponsors, which Spurley did for this event, and then at the end of it, we get loads of pictures up on Facebook with all the people walking around with their prizes going, look what I've got. You know, the last podcast we did after not 5 steps back, mincemeat, people were actually coming onto the podcast and going, look, I've spent my vouchers on these, isn't it cool? And everyone was doing it, and that's what generates more buzz for the sponsors. They get sales from it. They get people saying, oh, you use them. Oh, I'll go and check them out as well. And I just felt it lacked a little bit from this event because of that. So I'm not unhappy with the prizes, because we got some. There was stuff for first, second, third. There were spot prizes every round, and there was stuff for last place, and there was stuff for the other systems that we could steal. But I don't agree with stuff not being given out and stuff being squirreled away for another system when it was gotten for one other thing. So
yeah, and I mean, you can't, when logistics break down, they break down, and all right, we weren't privy to some of the logistics, which meant we couldn't jump in and go, hey, we can help, because our job was to focus on the bolt action tournament going on.
Yeah, so some of the stuff couldn't be helped. There's a reason for it.
I'm glad there's reasons behind it, and I'm glad that by the sounds of it, steps are being taken to mitigate, contact to suppliers and stuff.
Yeah.
That being said, from where I'm sat, looks dodgy as fuck.
And this is one of the things is I was really, really, really fucking angry. I was really angry it wasn't given out, and I was really angry that it was given to the singles players rather than the team event, because that list that we were using to get all those prize support things was the list that we've curated for our events. And all of those sponsors, if they were ever to find out that Spurley is a jugger and it comes back to the juggers and they say, well, this event wasn't, the promises weren't kept for this event, why you probably won't do it for our next one. If that hurts me getting my sponsorship, then I'm going to be fucking furious. But we're remedying that by Dave contacting the sponsors and saying, we had a logistical breakdown because of events on the day. We've got your stuff. What do you want us to do with it? We'll obviously shout you out again if we're keeping it for another event, and you get double the amount of double the amount of shout outs and advertising, and we will give it out eventually. It's just that we had a breakdown. So
good. I'm still giving it a 2 out of 5.
I agree.
Fair enough.
That's fair.
What about you, Womble?
2. I think that's fair. Again, it's the giving the prize. I mean, it's WTC. You're giving the prizes to people that don't necessarily want or need it.
Well, all the stuff that was there for Wooden Spoon was actually on the pile for first, and I went, no. Let's take all that off, give it to Wooden Spoon, because it'll matter more to someone like that.
And I've got a message to any kind of like painting sponsors that are here and listening.
Yeah.
Can we stop giving it out to Best Painted? They already have all of the paints. Why do they need more?
That made me furious. That did.
It's like giving someone who wins a GT order dice, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I was just thinking across. It's like, you're talking about saying, there's my Cromlech turrets from Mincemeat, from the vouchers and stuff. Yeah, they're getting used. They'll be on the tabletop. I just think, I don't know. Part of me, I didn't go there for it, but part of me would have liked a little, even if it's just like a metal Spanish Civil War figure or something, that just a memento of the event.
I think goodie bags is a good idea. You need a goodie bag with a figure and a couple of dice, so you could take your order checks on WTC dice or something like that. Just a little gimmicky thing. But
I was thinking about FUBAR stuff, but I was like, no, I wouldn't have wanted that, because I don't want people yelling it out and then people coming across and telling it. Actually, that doesn't work with the event, so it would just be like a little goodie bag or something.
This is the second year I've won a box of models with my podium trophy, where I have immediately given the box away within 5 seconds of receiving it.
Yeah.
So trophy's good. Acknowledgement that you're doing well. Good. Obviously, that's what we're all here for. But I think at the WCC, especially, the prizes need to be concentrated at the lower end of the scale, not the top end, because the people at the top end don't give a fuck. That's not what they are there for.
The best prize in the room is Wooden Spoon. That's the best place in the room. That's the strongest team. They're holding the whole table up.
Yeah, as it should be.
Well, there was one comment on the feedback that actually did say, let me pull it up exactly, so I'm not.
Thank you for our new French army. I think the surprise part was amazing.
While he's pulling that up, then, if it was a 2 last year, I think the addition of the spot prizes this year for just a few little gimmicky things pumps it up to like a 2.5, 3, in my opinion. But again, it's still far too top heavy. You need to get that stuff down to the bottom half of the table and thank the people that have travelled 10,000 miles from the States to
get pasted every round.
To finish 4th last,
Well, it's the terrain problem all over again. Quality wise, it's good. It's the distribution of it. That's the problem.
Well, and for anybody that's ever been to our usual kind of jugger events in the UK, like Dan splits that out. Every player gets about the same monetary value, because that's just how it is. And I've got to be honest, I think you're a little spoiled from them, but whatever.
Yeah, no, I know, I appreciate I am. And I quite like Juggernaut Adventures as well because you get your slot, and then there's that mini sort of bizarre thing going on where everyone swaps stuff around. But yeah, it was not so much the thing. It was just the lack of a goodie bag or something. Just as a you've come here, I agree. You've come all this way. Here, have some dice and just a memento or something. Just a memento. Because I'm a bit of a hobbyist. Something to paint up, stick in my army somewhere along the line on the back of a truck or something. It doesn't matter. Yeah, that sort of thing. No,
because with Dave's already made all the terrain for bolt action, right? Doesn't need it anymore. Get the 3D printer going. Make us
exactly. So next year, Dave, cast up some dice. It shouldn't be too hard to just print out or cast just 2 dice each.
Even if you just do some giant dice, WTC turn dice. That way you don't have to worry about. That way you don't have to worry about them being weighted. They're just like a D6. But it's just
make it fist size.
Makes it fist size. It's your turn dice.
Yeah, perfect.
I do want to bring up while we're on about turn dice things. Is there was a few players where if I needed to check their turns, I could see it from the other end of the room. It was quality. We had England one's Luke with I think the second biggest dice I've ever seen. It was massive.
I like the Spanish dead graveyard.
Yeah, the
things on it, they were cool.
Brilliant.
Yeah. The US teams have brought something that was
the US. I played US. It was really good. They just slot it all in. It was great.
Yeah,
it took me all of 30 seconds to work out how. Again, our probably second favourite. I don't know. One of our favourite Danes, Michael Christensen, had set his town counter out. It was 6 Danish flags in a thing, and if it's turn 1, he took one of the flags out.
What we need.
And I was like, that's quality. I can see that from ages away. How many flags you got left? 5. You're on turn 1.
Little laser cut dice towers. You can assemble them there. Only because the Italian players, the Spanish players, I think there's definitely a thing where more southern states where they roll dice by taking a fucking leg up and flinging dice at full speed across.
Passion.
Boom, and it just smashes them all. Get a nice little dice tower. That's what you need. There you go.
I can't remember which player it was, but there was a player with a cup that would be like, bam, straight down, and that was his result.
That was Michael.
Was it? Oh,
Have you got that comment spell?
Yeah, I found it. So somebody in the comments put there were hardly any prizes for the first place finishers. I think they kind of missed you. To me, you missed the point of the whole tournament with that, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah, there weren't that many there. One, because Warlord only sent 3 sets of gold dice, so we couldn't give out 3 sets instead of 4. Also, I took off the prizes that were last places because they were doubled up on first place, so they had 2 sets of prizes, and then there was some golden tigers to give out as well. And I was like, well, just fucking leave them. Just give them out spot prizes at a different event.
The gold tigers went out as a spot prize round 6.
There was more for the first place.
First place did get gold tigers as well.
Yeah, but I got, when I gave it to the team that won it, they went, we all already own tigers. What are we going to do this? And I turned around and went, terrain. And they went, we'll keep them then.
Yeah.
Well, as someone who humbly only came second, agree to disagree with that comment. Couldn't give a fuck.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is, isn't it?
And the captain of England 1 who's in the chat here, Mr. Alex, patches.
Yeah.
Just a little patch or something.
I've got my little do that pet one that I had.
Patches
you had a little thing saying Womble, and then on the other side it said do not pet.
I think this year's patch would need to, the picture of the theme for this year would just need to be Dan doing that. Yeah. WTC 2024.
WTC.
Yeah, that's right. Oh god! Shout out to Robert Shank in the comments. He made those wonderful dice packs for USA 2.
Oh, they were quite nice.
Such craftsmanship.
But did they have the fleecy inside that yours has got?
Don't know.
I really liked Bo's dice bag because it was about
it's like a sack. You're like,
and yet you complain about mine.
You could have one for cheating because you could have had like 9 different chambers in there that he could have had all of his own dice in and not the others.
It was that wasn't a dice bag. It was a fucking cow's colon.
It was massive.
Shoulder up. There's my dice.
So, do you want the scores on the doors?
Uh-oh.
What was last year? Last year was a 25 out of 35.
You've definitely got more than that.
This year we're on 30.5. Basically, it's all down to prizes. If prizes was a 4, we'd be up at 33.
That's fair. Sounds good.
And I think as a tournament, if you take out prizes and get rid of the 2, we'd be 28.5 out of 30.
Yeah.
That is boss mode, isn't it?
I'll have that.
My name's Dan. I'm a WTC TM. I saved it. I'm brilliant.
I will refer you to the last hour and a half.
Yeah.
Also, just so people do know, just so people do know, in the background, day 1, I'm sat there with my score sheet, going, "Holy crap! Something I built in for the pairing doesn't bloody work. I'll have to do it manually because I'm not having this go wrong." So we did have issues, but we were straight on them.
Yeah, but we did it manually and it worked. Yeah. So I just want to say, thanks to Dave. He does get these events on, and he gets them off the ground, and he gets people there. And honestly, that is the hard part. In the grand scheme of things, writing a pack that says "Don't be a cunt," and then writing missions to tell you how you win is the easy part. So getting 78 people on transatlantic flights sometimes to get here and play Bolt Action is really hard. Getting the venue secured and making sure that everyone is there and secure and has a place to sleep and has places to eat, it is really hard. So big props to Dave for doing that. Again, we shouted you out last year for doing it. You did it again this year. But I also want to thank him for, he doesn't like the word, but relinquishing control. Because he relinquished control of the Bolt Action, and I said, if you do it and you give me this authority to do what I need to do to get the pack and stuff done, I mean, the results speak for themselves. Everyone had a much better tournament than at previous tournaments, and I want to thank Spurley and Pete for the prizes, the scoring, and being there as part of the TO team. This isn't just my WTC.
That's not what you said the other day.
The other 2 are there as well, and they do make it a team effort, and I couldn't have done it without them, because I would have been fucked if I'd had to do the scores on my own. That's why Pete's there. And Spurley helped out with the scores as well for round 5.
Yeah, to be honest, I just set the score sheet up and go, "Hey, Spurley, this is how it works."
Yeah, and I wouldn't have been able to squiddly diddly myself around 93 different boards to answer all the questions all in one go. So,
you wouldn't have been able to go for a piss, mate. That's exactly.
The problem. So thank you to Dave for getting it on. Thank you for the other 2 lads for being there to help out. And the biggest one, I want to thank all the players and all the captains. Because, no, seriously, compared to the last couple of years, they were an absolit godsend.
We're just fucking terrified of you, Dan. We're just terrified that you're going to kill us. This isn't love, it's fear.
Toph, you never said there was any thanks for you. It was for the captains. So you can go fuck the off, mate.
All captains and all players bar Toph.
I took the magnanimous decision this year by stepping down as captain and letting Alex do it, which I think is the best decision I've made this year. Frankly, for all involved. I smashed it, mate.
Good captain.
Yeah, it's good lad.
Captain. He responded when I needed to warn his players at the start of round 4 when it was the Spanish versus the English. He listened and got everyone on side. And to be fair, all the captains, they were all brilliant. They were all fantastic. Yeah, yellow card, red card. Everyone was brilliant. When they asked questions, we gave them answers. They said, "Thank you, Tio," just like in the video that we did for the captains. And got on with the games.
Not all of them. I think it was Major kept calling us sir.
Oh yeah. Major kept calling me sir. I told him, mate, I'm probably like half your age. Please stop calling me sir. And he was like, "Yes, sir." How do you do that? And I put up on the chat afterwards, thanks to all the captains for being so brilliant. And he went, "Thank you very much as well, sir." So fuck you.
Craig
wasn't
Jones
Major,
also did
Mike.
a great job with coverage.
Craig Brown. He did
Who's Craig Jones?
Craig didn't do very much for coverage. He videoed a little bit at the start of each round to say that they were happening. He took loads of pictures, but none of them are out yet. The person who did all of the coverage is Spurley. He did photos and videos, and he did round matchups. He did scorings as they were going along. He answered everyone that was replying to the post to generate interest in them. Honestly, he did amazingly. So another shout out to Burley.
Hey,
he is
Ali,
the social media whore.
Ali in Scotland, you can have your rankings now.
Yeah.
No, you can't have them yet because I've still not put them up for. Still not sorted them out.
Celtic women are still top of the SPL. Arsenal ladies still top of the WSL.
I'm gonna be Pete again. Craig didn't really have much of a choice because his laptop was being used for the timer. So
I think it might still be getting used for the timer.
The one piece of equipment that he had to actually upload photos and get it all sorted, he just couldn't use.
Yeah, he couldn't use.
Craig was doing loads of it. He was doing loads of pictures for all of the systems. It's just that
he could only
none of it went up yet.
Well, they started to come up on the IGE page because he's got some of the videos, which I don't look great in.
The person who did it all through the round was Spurley. So
during the event, he could only upload stuff that he was doing on his phone. So he did get some videos up because he'd filmed them on his phone. But anything that he took on his camera was stuck there, basically. They could have changed the settings on the laptop so that rather than duplicating his screen, he was extending it. But that's for next year.
Yeah. So overall, brilliant event.
Yeah.
Would attend again.
Would TO again?
Well, that's up for debate.
Well, speaking of next year, it's in England this next year, which is exciting for all you listeners in England land. So if you're in...
It is probably not 100% set in stone yet. It's probably about April.
Yeah, it's penciled. It's lightly penciled so that it might be rubbed out, but hopefully it will be big fat mark penned in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. But England hosting, so we got opportunity to take some more teams. So in the next few weeks, once we've done all these episode stuff, I will be opening up the applications, I guess, again. So if you want to come and join England,
get swarmed.
Yeah, my turn to shine. Make yourself known, man. Make yourself known if you want to join. As I say, me and Owen have been working on a Idiot's Guide to the WTC, which we'll happily share with any other captains or reps who want to drive interest in their local countries, and we'll do a separate episode on that. But
hopefully we'll have another Welsh team as well, because if it's local,
an actual Welsh team, please, would be nice with actual Welsh players. That would be great.
We should be able to get the Scottish teams down, maybe even 3.
I heard all those accents. I was pretty sure they're all Welsh.
Yeah. Cockney sounds Welsh after enough beer.
No, it's a Welsh accent. It's definitely a Welsh accent.
Oh, go with Welsh as fuck, mate. I'm not doubting that.
I don't hear the Welsh in Luke's voice. Seeing as Gary's his granddad.
No.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Right, should we go on to the next segment then?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Oh, what transition style are you? How about this one? Nah, fuck it. I hate it. It's just not as good.
Isn't that the one?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to find some actual more.
Owen is rocking with his cock in every time that comes on.
What's he put his cock in?
Can you do a decent Finn Lizzie impression to get us into the Hobby Lobby, Owen?
No.
Are we doing the Hobby Lobby?
That's fucking...
I'm not prepared for the Hobby Lobby, mate.
No, not a chance. Come on. Since the
last WTC ever, mate.
I'm going to get the gospel according to the Hobby Lobby.
In fairness, we don't fucking make our pledges anyway. How is this episode going to be any different to any other episode we do?
When did we record
the last
Owen's had like 6 months since he's last been on. He should have fulfilled his.
Let's just do Owen's then. Forget everybody else.
Let's just do you. Yeah.
I think the answer is everything and a whole lot more. That was on my list.
You're just showing us up now, mate. Fucking hell.
I think
you're off the show.
Owen. Finish entire Tempestos Scions army, 20 Kazakin.
Yeah, I did that, and I've done an extra 6 vehicles and an extra 2 aircraft and another 30 Kazakin.
You can get so much shit done when you got 6 months, haven't you?
You got 6 months, and you don't have any kids,
and your wife fucks off to Australia.
Yeah, we've had 2 weeks and travelling to the WTC and back in between. So
yeah. Although I do have paint on Bretonians, so go me. It's like 2 layers, but that's all counts.
Battle Cat, look, Bony Battle Cat.
The Battle Cat got its repairs and made its new bigger base. If you're wondering if it is a bigger base,
it
is actually a bigger bloody base.
He likes a base.
Old world goodness.
Bigger base. He likes a bigger.
Oh, it's because what they did, right? What they did, right, is they turned around and went, the base we supply the model with, yeah? We're not going to use that one. We're going to use the next size up.
Yeah,
fuck you, Pete. Fuck you.
Yeah, and then obviously got my little stalker boys that are still.
They got to make money from the old world somehow.
What was my pledge, Peter? I can't even remember.
An Iron Demon from last episode.
I completed pledge, boys. Actually, I've not done the crew yet, so 0 out of 10.
A whole bunch of crew in there.
I failed. Yeah, failed.
But look,
is that 3 colour minimum?
Yeah, it's got brass bits, you knobhead. Look at that.
Oh yeah.
It can confirm Sparley completed one half of his pledge.
What was half of my pledge?
Another whiskey.
I
have painted Damsel.
Well, on a technicality, you're down as Bretonians, and that's a Bretonian.
I also have paint on. Oh, dead one. On Knights with Great Swords, I have silver and yellow and gold on 15 of them.
Okay.
Yeah,
good for you. Good for you. To be fair, we've only had 2 weeks. It's not a full month. Other stuff I've been working on. I've been 3D printing some bull centaurs. Look, they're so fucking massive. Look at that.
What base size are they on?
That's a 60 by 75. Yeah, it is the size of a shag-off. Yeah. Look at it.
Are they on 60 by 75s?
Yeah, the fucking chonkers.
Mad.
Look at this. Right, so Iron Demon.
Yeah.
Look at the size of him compared to a fucking bull centaur. It's fucking nuts. So but then they take up the base. That's the base size. So I made them fill the base size. I don't know.
I mean, I need some 50 by 75s for my Tomb Scorpions, but
yeah, I've got some spare if you want, Pete. Look,
might be useful.
I've got a whole little drug baggie of them. Look at that.
Are they 50 by 75s or 60 by 75s?
That's 50 by 75.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah. I'll sort you out, mate.
But I'm not at club this week, mate.
Aren't you there to open up with the key?
Oh yeah. I'll be opening up, going there you go, and then disappearing off to watch.
When you go, there you go. I'll throw you the.
oh yeah, and I'll tell you what, I'll swap it.
My towel gun. Yes. This is
your towel gun that was in my boot since before Christmas. Made it out of my boot. Then lived in my mother's house while I was away, and then has been living here ever since. So,
are you a true towel player if you didn't leave your big dick railgun around your best mate's mum's house? Just saying. Just saying.
What do you think?
I heard a lot of people leave their railgun at Pete's mum's there.
I don't need to defend her because she'll beat the shit out of you.
Pete fired Dan fired his submission round.
It was not very effective.
No. Right, I've got a joke this time. I'm going to tell the joke to end the show.
Oh, is it a mirror?
I've actually there's one that's coming on Facebook as well.
Is that okay? Well, we will tile multiple jokes, and then we can see. Right, so I'll go with mine first. So a guy lost his penis in an accident, and there was no suitable donors. So the only available option to the surgeon was to attach a baby elephant's trunk. After the surgery and healing process, the guy is ready to start dating again. He's out on his first date since the accident, and while at the dinner table, the trunk comes out of his trousers and starts sniffing around on the table after finding a bread cob. Or bread roll, whatever you want to call it. It disappears back under the table. His date sits there astonished while the guy tries to act like he didn't see it. Then the trunk does the same thing again, grabbing another cob and dropping under the table. His date says, "That's amazing, can you do it again?" The guy says, "Yeah, you wouldn't think it was so amazing, this thing was stuffing biscuits up your arse." Also, why do Americans, because I've read it, call biscuits, like, that's not a biscuit, that's a cob or a roll or a bun or a barm cake if you're a fucking weirdo. Why are you calling it a biscuit?
The same reason they call
It's dumpling, isn't it?
Like potato things, chips, like crisps, chips.
Oh, because they're fucking retarded. No, a biscuit is
fries.
A biscuit is a custard cream or a digestive or a chocolate hobnob. That's a biscuit.
Ginger nut.
But like our biscuits are their cookies.
Yeah, but cookies is a specific type of biscuit.
I know.
All cookies are biscuits, but not all biscuits are cookies.
So while we're taking shots at Americans, these are the same people that for a lot of their bread, it's got sugar in.
It's called brioche.
You introduce European bread to Americans, and they suddenly go, "This is great. With no sugar in it." We're like, "Yes."
Fucking yeah. Anyway,
tell yours.
So the one from the so Chris again. He sends one in every time we go live now.
Good lad.
Yeah. So, what do brain damage and masturbation have in common?
Dan does both a lot of them. Both a lot of time. No?
Oh, that would have worked if you'd have not stumbled over your words.
So,
both involve beating your head.
A few too many strokes and there's no going back.
That was good.
That was better than mine.
Yeah.
Come on then, Dan. Have you got one for us to finish on?
Yeah, cancel us, please.
Okay.
Okay.
I will cancel us now. Okay. What's 12 inches long and hard in the morning?